No. Whatever Tim said, that's not socks.
In Spanish for Dominican.
In Dominican Spanish.
Well,
Dominican. Maybe I sock in Dominican.
Because the sock is in between the shoe and the foot, right?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, calcetines is socks.
Calcetines? Yeah. That has to be South American. Speaking of that, actually, it's really funny. I thought about this story. So when I was in fucking 5th grade, there was a teacher, right? And I had just discovered that, like, when you take your hand and you flick your chin and shit. You flick your chin. And it means fuck you, right? Or in Italian or however the fuck. I just know it's another way of saying fuck you, right? So I just learned. And I'm doing that to my friend. Like, fuck you, whatever. And the teacher's like, hey, what are you doing? And I was like, nothing. He's like, no, I know what that means. I've been to South America. And I was like, at that time, I had no idea what that meant. I was just like, South America? I learned that like today. Like, what is he talking about? That nigga was being fucking racist. What the fuck? Like, he assumed because I'm Hispanic that...
You ever been to South America?
He's saying that do South Americans do that? I didn't even have no idea. Is that an actual thing? Is that factual?
I'm not from South America. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. So he just accused me.
I think you should give him credit for not. Nope.
You know what? Hey, if there's anything that we've learned over the past couple episodes, Xavier's growing.
Yeah, definitely some growth.
I'm gonna say it. I just need to word it differently than how it was about to come out.
Yeah, he's gonna say some racist shit. That's how you know. Yeah,
it wasn't not. It's just most times you think people who speak Spanish are from Mexico, and that's not South America. So for him to go, I'm not from South America, shows that maybe he was giving you, he wasn't calling you Mexican, which is what?
No, that was just a classy way to call me a Mexican. So he didn't say Mexico flat out. He said, I've been to South America. So just in case I try to say like, no, nigga, I'm Honduran or whatever, he's covered. But the joke's on him.
All of them.
Yeah, joke's on him, motherfucker. I'm from the Caribbean. So you were still fucking wrong.
It's in North America.
Yeah, exactly. And two, I don't even think that's a South American thing. Jamie, can you look that up? Is doing this?
My name's not Jamie.
Your name's is it not Jamie? No. Why the fuck am I calling you Jamie?
He's been doing his job then.
Bartender.
Right, that's what Boots been doing his job.
On here, not there.
Can you look up? I don't even know what the fuck is this called. Just fuck you.
Is the chin flip South American?
Is it South American? What?
Oh, you're talking
no.
Yeah, like this. Yeah. Like actually, then think about it. The only person I've ever seen do that is like Nunzio from the FBI, and I just assumed it was an Italian thing, and that's not okay to say out loud, right? But like he was Italian. He is Italian, but I can't just generalize that all Italians do that. Then it's not okay.
That's fair.
Yeah, so that's what I was kind of lightly saying that. So I was like trying to emphasize that that's not what I'm saying. But as I think I was like 11-year-old when I saw Nunzio do it. Yeah, 10-year-old. I'm like, oh yeah, this must be something that because they were really emphasizing that he was Italian, right? The whole thing that he was.
Who is a Nunzio?
Nunzio was a wrestler back in the day.
Okay.
Yeah. You see that transition? You like that? It's natural. But Nunzio was a wrestler back in the day, and he was part of the FBI. They were called the Full-Blooded Italians. Yeah. And so he would come out. He'd just do this to the crowd, and crowds like, fuck you, Nunzio. Fucking hackling and shit. But yeah.
Hold on.
Hackling? Yeah, hackling.
That sounds like a fish. It's heckling.
I'm sorry. See?
Oh.
You see?
It's used in Belgium, France, Northern Italy, and Tanzania.
You see?
Tunisia, but also that's not Italian. That's a lot of other places.
So that dude was totally being racist.
It's not South American.
It meant
right.
No.
Right. Well, now it's fuck you.
Yeah, but it meant no originally.
Oh. Yeah, that's crazy. That guy was racist. I need to figure out what teacher that was. Mr. Barker something. Oh man.
Bet you ain't shit now.
You guys want to do B-roll now? Like, roll and let the crowd know this is When Awesome Collides. It's your boy. I am the M in the DMX Maui, of course, here with D Mark and X.
I like how we slid into that after I said, "Can we have a 5
I was about to
second
say
of
that.
silence
Literally
for
just said-
audio
he
transition?"
just said-
And you said one sentence, and you go, "Hey, we're gonna go in now." So hold on. Okay. So now let's start this shit out.
You're on with Maui,
No relation to the trademark whatsoever.
D-Mark,
I don't believe in none of this.
and X.
Which, by the way, Dick Wolf is the best name ever.
And this is When Awesome Collides.
Now you guys heard our fantastic intro. This is again When Awesome Collides. I am Maui. This is D-Mark. This is X. And as you guys might have been hearing us kind of mention some funny stories, but we're going to be talking about wrestling this week. I'm really excited about that. I made these guys watch. I thought it'd make more sense to watch this documentary instead of making them watch, especially Xavier, because Xavier, you've actually never watched wrestling, right?
I was not allowed to watch wrestling.
Fair, and it's weird. It's weird, but it's fair.
Big weird.
I mean,
it's big weird that I haven't watched it or that I was not allowed to watch it.
No, and actually
Both.
no,
Like, so it's weird. Like, wait, it's not weird that it's weird that you weren't allowed to watch it because it's like, hey, don't watch a movie.
I couldn't watch a lot of movies.
That's very fair.
I had to argue when I was 17 to go watch PG-13 movies.
That makes sense. that's hey.
but I will say this, so to get let the viewers know. So I made them watch the Monday Night Wars docu-series that's on the WWE Network.
Shout out WWE Network.
Yeah, big shout out Vince McMahon. If you want to pay a nigga, shout me out.
Yeah, just free tickets to a
From
show,
what I
a
learned,
house
he
show.
didn't want to pay nobody. So.
Yeah. Smooth transition, but I made him watch that. So I thought it'd be interesting to give somebody. Well, originally, actually, we're supposed to watch all of the Monday Night Wars docuseries,
all of the
20 episodes,
which he did not describe how many episodes were.
He
in.
said, watch this documentary, and I'm under the impression the documentary's at most maybe 4 hours long. So I'm like, I can bust that out in a day. I turned that shit on, and I'm like, this is 21 hours of television.
Yes, sir.
And I don't have enough time to do this.
Luckily for me, I looked on Thursday. So from Thursday until about 2 hours ago, I have been watching all of the episodes.
I looked this morning
a ton
at
of
noon.
watching all at once. So yeah, it's a good thing. From now on,
I'm checking. I'm checking the very next day. Somebody's gonna say, "Watch this," and I'll go, "Okay," and then I'll look the next day and be like, "Fuck, it's gonna take me all week to watch this," or "Shit, I can just do this right before we record."
Yeah, big
which
mistake.
doesn't seem to be the case since I had to cram the last dance in.
You should never do the second part.
Yeah,
no.
Ever,
For kids out
never.
there, I don't know why you listen to this. You've got irresponsible parents, but don't ever wait until the last minute to do anything.
Yep.
In my experience, that's wrong because then you remember more shit. If somebody goes, "You don't know anything about this, but you want to talk about it," then after I've talked about it, I don't care anymore, so I can forget about it.
Right.
It's like deleting something off of a hard drive. You got the use out of it. Now it's gone. I don't need to back it up.
Talking about RAM versus SSD. RAM is like right now.
Right.
SSD is for.
Exit also want to point out that you are now in fact wrong because you've experienced the wrongness. So you can't say in your experience you've never been wrong doing it this one way because now you've just experienced that failure.
That is true.
So we were supposed to watch all 20 episodes. Well, by me I mean X because he's never seen wrestling. But since he decided to be a lazy bitch, we decided that he was only going to watch episodes 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 8.
But I didn't get 6 because I said fuck Bret the Hitman Hart.
He did say fuck Bret the Hitman
honestly,
Hart.
I can't wait to talk about that. I need to know why that is.
Yeah, well, because apparently he hates Canada is what he told me, but he said that off camera, and I totally validated our.
He's Canadian.
What?
Wow.
Whoa! Oh, you didn't watch the episode? Yeah, that makes sense.
Isn't their prime minister like racist or something now though?
No, he knew
That's
because
why.
of DX. Anyways, but. So we're only going to talk about those episodes. I'm going to talk about.
That's a lie. I'm going to talk about all the episodes.
I was going to say I'm going to talk about a lot of different things, but really, since X is going to be ignorant to a lot of the things, we're going to try to tailor from what he's seen, and maybe I'll talk about my experience from watching the documentary and then comparing it to the product today, and then obviously these guys can kind of chime in whatever they want to chime in. Probably going to be dick jokes, but it don't matter. We're here for for lulls and yucks.
You make those, we respond to them.
Oh.
So if you're not making them, we don't got them.
Oh, that makes sense.
You serve the dick joke.
That's right. I'll be
Just take
serving
'em.
dick to say it. That's right. But yeah, let's D, you want to kind of roll us into it? You had something you want to lob?
No doubt. Oh yeah, I'll lob it up for you. You know what I'm saying? I'll hit you with it. So watching I've really enjoyed the last few weeks of what we've been talking about because it's a way for us to relive our childhood, but now and to see how different things are till now. So something that, X said earlier kind of makes me laugh because it's literally what I was talking to you about when we were playing Overwatch. Shout out Overwatch earlier.
Shout out OW.
You know what I'm saying? that he said, "Oh, I didn't know that WWE and WCW were enemies," and I laughed. But then I literally was like, "No, I literally said that earlier."
I didn't even know they were different things. I thought they were.
That's actually what I was. Yeah, that's what because I said when I watched this as a kid. To me, all this happened all at once, and I like since for me. Wrestling is real.
Yeah, kayfabe.
Because it is.
Yeah.
So wrestling is real. So like to me, I was like,
Not a
man,
sport.
all these. It's a sport. All of these people.
They're athletic.
Let's not do
Sport
this right now.
almost seems like you have to not know the outcome before you start.
Wow.
Oh, well, we don't know the outcome before they start.
You don't, they do.
Damn.
Okay. The same thing in the NFL. I don't know. They know the outcome before it starts. The Patriots know what's going to happen before it starts.
Shout out New England.
Shout out New England. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. So watching. I mean, so a lot of this stuff. Watching the first couple episodes where they're like, you know, oh man, people didn't know about contracts then. People didn't know about that you had to sign for
all
time
the inside information that we know now.
That's legitimately how I felt. Like watching it again, I was like, oh man, I couldn't imagine. Like I remember watching that for the first time. Like, whoa, what's Hulk Hogan doing on WCW? What happened? And I was like, oh, what a traitor. And then as you grow up, you're like, oh, it's a job.
Right.
It's a job. But like you're watching it again, you're like, but then the mystique with wrestling is like nobody knew.
Right.
Like you just thought that. Like these were
at that time.
Then at that time, you know what I'm saying? Like this is who they were. This is we don't have the same information. They didn't have it then. They would do now.
Shout out social media.
You know, so ruining all the things we like. Yeah, you know what I'm saying with the with spoilers constantly. But yeah, like that was really cool to see. Like because how I felt as a kid, like the wonder, the mystique wasn't just for the children watching it. Yeah, listening to those wrestlers who it's hard for me to realize that a lot of them now are my age. That's weird. Yeah. So that means they were watching this, shit when I was young, and then now they're better than me because that sucks. Yeah. But, they're better people than I am. Yeah.
For sure. That is totally a fact. You were a piece of shit. Yeah.
No doubt. I am terrible. But yeah, it was cool to see that they're like, no, this is like experiencing this, back then and seeing it now. I'm like, man, that's exactly how I feel about that.
Yeah. So X, what kind of so as a person that's never watched wrestling, of professional wrestling, but you never watched it. What are some things that you were kind of expecting to kind of fall into? I don't know what kind of level of ignorance you had going into it before you watched this.
Two things. First thing, I would still watch wrestling.
First thing.
Wow, what a bitch.
I would still not watch wrestling.
What? Yeah. What?
I cannot. If anything, this showed me some of the appeal of wrestling in general. Talking about like the live aspect of it and not really knowing what's going to happen, and it's just over the top. But I still think it's dumb as fuck. But yeah, so I wouldn't watch it. If I learned anything from this, I still don't care to watch it. I will say, much like when we did, watch Last Dance and talked about Last Dance and everything. I like watching shit like this because it's just a fun watch. It shows you the ins and outs, what's happening, what's really going on. And I still get a sense of who the characters are or the wrestlers are from it. And I don't know, I like learning shit. And I thought that what I got to watch, and I will watch the rest of it just because it's super interesting. I think it's kind of cool, the evolution of it from the 80s and everything. And have you guys watched Glow on Netflix?
I have not. Should I?
It's actually about like the first like big women's only wrestling thing. Mm-hmm. Really, really good show. You've seen Community, right?
No.
Yes.
Not. Yeah. No.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, that's bad. It's got
damn. Okay.
It's got Annie in it. Glow does.
Oh yeah. No doubt.
Yeah. So whatever.
Like the curly head? Oh, that's Sir Shirley Temple. I'm sorry.
What?
Is that the same person?
Yeah,
bro, I'm trying to unravel all of that. That's a lot of that sitting.
Shirley Temple. That's not even. Is she dead?
Crackers
no, she's like a senator or something, isn't it?
Monkey and rabbits, loop de loop.
Yo, that episode, that fucking commercial haunts me.
Is that
no, it was the infomercial for her shit, right?
Yeah. It haunts me because if you ever stayed up until like 1 o'clock in the morning as a kid to watch Freakazoid, you knew that shit came on. That and fucking what is the fucking magazine with the animals, the zoo thing?
Oh my god! It was the.
Oh, is it National Geographic?
No, it wasn't National Geographic because it would have the fucking. Oh my god! It would have like the snakes or the elephants.
Jamie,
Yeah.
Hey Jamie, could you? Oh, you left. Okay,
Jamie's not here to help us.
We'll ask him in a minute.
Yeah.
But that commercial and then old infomercials were the fucking truth.
Yeah, they still haunt me, unfortunately. So that means they did their job.
How am I supposed to live without you?
That was my Is that the fucking country CD?
No, that's with the Michael Bolton. And you don't remember the
but it was a CD with a lot of different tracks in it,
had
right?
a bunch of different tracks.
Yeah, I forgot I don't know what the fuck it is, but
It's probably now that's what I call music too.
National Wildlife. National Wildlife.
Yeah. I was close. National Geographic was really close. But yeah, those fucking commercials with the snakes and the shit, and the kids would be like open up like, wow. That's exactly what he did. Exactly what he did.
But no, not Shirley Temple. Anyway, just the behind the scenes at how the wrestling works and all that. I think it's really interesting. Just overall, getting to see that shit and fucking, you hear all this shit about Vince McMahon. There's shit in this that I had heard growing up that I thought was actually true.
Yeah,
like to this day, I still thought it was true, and it just goes to show, the perception of reality is reality of itself kind of, thing. I thought Vince McMahon really was, and he's probably really a dick, but I really thought he was out there trying to fight the wrestlers and all this shit. Mm-hmm. And the reason I didn't know the difference between the two things is because people would be like, oh, this person went to here or this person went to there. And I didn't know NWO was like an actual thing. Yeah. I thought NWO was its own branch of wrestling.
Yeah.
And then they talked about the ECW,
for a little bit.
For a little bit.
Yeah.
Like it's own thing?
Yeah.
Thank you,
that's
Jamie,
like
with the brewskis.
we didn't, that's something I also didn't
what
realize.
The fuck? Why would you not give me Donatello?
I didn't realize that for a while there, they were.
Fuck that.
What are you talking about?
I was complaining I didn't get Donatello.
Oh.
I only drink out of Raph.
Hey, you're not trading me, bitch. What the fuck?
I'll be Michael. I'll be the coolest bro with the most useless weapon.
Yeah.
So they did become their own brand for a little bit.
Oh, well.
Sub story.
Real quick too, just people that are listening. So we have these Bare Hands Brewery glasses that are actually Ninja Turtle themed, it seems. And so I was complaining because he had the audacity to hand me a fucking Michelangelo cup like I'm a fucking Fleeb or something.
Did you say Fleeb?
I didn't say Fleeb. I saw your ears perk up. I'm like, I want to get this motherfucker to say something because I know I've seen
this. You saw his ears perk up underneath his headphones.
Immediately.
Everything that you're saying is just wrong. That's wrong. That's fine. This thing's great. But they did become their own brand for a little bit.
No, it's not. Zima is disgusting.
You guys know this is coconut water.
Coconut water. What? Is that what you handed me?
With mango.
Is there alcohol in
there?
there?
Is there alcohol in this?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was like, hand me some fucking water, motherfucker.
Why would he do that? What a terrible
That's what I'm saying.
bartender.
Like, what the fuck?
Is he cutting us off before the show even
what the
begins?
fuck? It's
not carbonated.
It's not.
What do you mean? This is good.
It's like water.
It's spiked still water by Pure Still.
It just threw me off that it's not fucking spiked.
90 calories. Hey, listen, I fuck with the 90 calories, but where's the alcohol content? What, 4.5? What am I? What the fuck?
After
I need at least a 10%.
It's to warm you up, bro.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought we were going hard. Is it? Oh, real quick, yo, shout out to my nigga Tim, bro. It's his birthday and shit. What the fuck?
Tim.
Hey, oh shit.
Jamie's birthday. We get confused with that. He spells it really weird. We pronounce it wrong constantly.
How you talk to me with a T? It's crazy.
It's spelled T-I-M, but it's pronounced Jamie. For black people.
Yo, no, real quick, man. Hey, shout out Tim, bro. Happy birthday, bro. We love you.
And
big ups.
We didn't give you no bonus though. You still doing this shit for free.
Old man.
Ain't nobody asked you how old you are.
And Larry, we'll throw that out there too.
I didn't ask you how old you were.
Facebook was Larry out there doing his thing.
Facebook was Larry. It's his birthday too.
Yeah, shout out to both my homies, bro. Birthday, celebrating with them in spirit.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna take a big
swig. You say like spirit? Larry ain't dead.
No, but he ain't here though.
That's okay.
I mean, but all right, he's here like alive, but he ain't here with us like right now. Ooh. So like, but his spirit with us here right now. But he's still alive, like he's chilling.
Okay,
he's still chilling right now.
Larry thinks that WWE.
What? Yeah, but yeah. So you're talking about the WWE stuff, Xavier?
Yeah. No, I just. I like the feud. I
it
think
tastes like dog shit. What the fuck?
Bro,
It tastes
even
like dog water.
This is delicious.
I like the feud.
This is awful.
What's dog water, bro?
You ever had dog water, bro?
That's what I'm saying. You're implying
You
that
do
you've
realize
had
that dog water is regular water.
No. I'm talking about the slobber in it, bro. Like it's just like old dog water, like the last bit, like the backwash.
Dog water sounds like dog
How
piss.
have you? So you've been eating? You've been drinking.
I'm just telling you right now. That's what this tastes like. So if you ever run into pure
It just tastes like fruit water.
it don't taste like nothing, bro. I'm telling you, it tastes like
So it don't taste like nothing, but it does taste like dog water.
It don't taste good. How about that? But yeah, if you run into the pure still mango,
It's good.
it does not taste good. Don't let Tim or anyone lie to you.
I'm enjoying it. It's fantastic.
Oh, they tripping, bro.
I like it. I just was expecting it to have bubbles.
No, yeah, you know what?
Even though looking at it, there's no bubbles in it.
Like, why does the water taste dense? It's like dense water. Like it's just I don't know why it's heavier on my tongue. Like it has like a.
I know this water weighs the same as the water that's next to it, but it just feels
more dense.
It feels more solid.
Do you not agree? Like I don't know. Like
Hold on.
Take a swig.
They put some weight on you.
You know what I'm saying? Like a little bit of weight to it. Hold on.
No more than like Propel.
No, look, that's
exactly. Propel.
It's so bad. I hate Propel.
It does.
It's so bad.
It's like clean water, no. Dirty water,
Yeah, only like water my dog drank first.
Hey, don't judge me, bro. What the fuck? I'm just telling
I
you.
am astounded
Sometimes
though that there were 8 million people at any given time watching wrestling, which is
what are you talking about, bro? I'll slap the hell out of you. I love wrestling.
It's too many people watching.
No, but that's honestly. I don't think it's as wild because the way we consume media now is entirely different. Like, if it's first, you're like, man, that's a lot of people. And you're like, no, that's just a regular amount of. That's actually not that many if you think about it. If there's like 200 million people, I don't know what the population was in 1990. I know 100 million people weren't like added to the population over the last 2 decades. But let's say like 250 million people in America, and
it feels like only 8 people would have been too many people.
That's weird. What? They don't become what?
I just don't fuck with wrestling.
Obviously.
Like, what? That's so odd. What?
I'm so mad. We did this for you. You're gonna shit on it.
I told you guys that I didn't.
He did say.
But I thought we could sway him.
No.
He said
you're not gonna sway me on watching.
Obviously.
People clearly not hit each other, except
so that's one thing.
The chair battle, where they were in between backyard wrestling and real wrestling.
The ECW stuff.
That shit, yeah.
Of course.
Like that's one of the mankind, bro. Like he's always been interesting.
Hold on. Oh yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm saying mankind has always been interesting, but I have a newfound appreciation because like as a kid, I didn't understand how revolutionary some of the stuff he did was. I was just
I'm actually gonna get hit. I'm actually gonna get hit, and I'm actually gonna get fucked up. See what happens.
I'll lose a tooth in my nose. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get thrown onto tax. Like,
so we're gonna get into the actual documentary or docuseries. So I tried to do the whole notes thing like you do, like episode to episode. So it didn't work out, but I still wanna kind of mention like some of my initial stuff.
Let's go.
That I talked about.
It's just gonna say dicks 14 times.
It probably will be. I'm not gonna lie to you. All right. So the first thing I wrote is Shawn Michaels oozes charisma.
Oh yes, definitely.
Like immediately. It's just like the same thing with like I said about Michael Jordan. Like as soon as you see him, like, wow, this guy's something.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like immediately, like, all right, cool. And I mean, I don't know if it was a bias. So I was really interested to talk to Xavier to see what he felt when he saw Shawn Michaels. He probably thought he was a fucking prick. But let's see.
I feel like anything I say is automatically taken as hostile because
you're gonna say it in a dicky way.
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna say it the same way I say anything. Although I did find Shawn Michaels very annoying. I like Triple H 1,000,000% more than Shawn Michaels.
Fair. Honestly, I get it.
And when he's like, I broke my back, I was like, please don't wrestle again. And he's like, no, I'm not gonna quit. And I'm like, you should have quit last match. But like, I don't know. It was just something of he didn't seem like he was doing it for fun. He seemed like he was doing it because he was fucked up. And I think for me, that's different.
Yeah.
Like there's a difference between being a dick because you're being a dick.
I'm talking about episode 1. So you like see glimpses of like people for episode 1?
I cannot in any way differentiate the information that I have about him
to
when I saw it in the documentary.
That's actually something I was talking about that earlier. I said the thing that you were talking about how compared to The Last Dance, this isn't as polished. That's one of the things that I was noticing earlier, and that's what I was talking to you about. Where I didn't enjoy that they skipped around because they didn't do it
It's confusing.
At least in the Last Dance, you knew past to present. Right. And this one, some of the interviews would be from like 1995. Some of them were for 2003. Some were yesterday. And it gave a very, it was hard for me personally. It might have been easier for you, but it was harder for me to differentiate. Like, I literally was like, Steve Nash was like young in an interview. And then in the same episode, he was
Kevin
old.
Nash. Yeah, I got you.
Kevin Nash.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, so Kevin Nash was young in an episode or in an interview, old in an interview, and then young again.
Oh no, I like he was old and old as shit.
Old as shit, and then young again in an interview in the same episode. And I was like, hold on, what?
Yeah,
but and that's one thing that like I can get that. I can understand.
It was just
Oh, shout out Steve Nash, my bad, bro.
Shout out Kevin Nash.
Is Steve Nash the dude
from the basketball player?
Yeah, but with the long hair.
Yeah. Well, he's hair short now.
But yeah.
No, people just told me when I was in middle school, they're like, "You're Steve Nash because your hair," and I was like, "I don't know."
Yeah, it makes sense for the Suns. He had long hair.
Yeah, long hair at the time.
The other thing that really irritated me about how
Shout out.
Did this at
Shout
all?
out Jamie. He can't open his bottle.
Is they gave you the exact same amount of gave you the same information over and over and over, and it might have been because I was binging it, but it would be like in this year they had this many viewers and there was this and there was this, and you're like, well, you just literally the last episode told me this. So instead of saying during this time Stone Cold was doing this things, it was like during this time, and then it would show the same footage again. And I'm like, you made this an hour long and 15 minutes is the same shit
that
it was in the last episode. Also, maybe a hot take, not really sure. I think I like Keith David as a narrator more than Morgan Freeman.
Bro, oh my God, I was going to say,
funny.
What
Keith
an incredible
David is
narrator.
His voice is perfect.
Oh, I thought you was, my bad. Shout out Tim, my bad. I thought he was mad.
Shout out Jamie.
Jamie. But yeah, like Tiki, like that dude is an incredible narrator. Like, yeah. Like, man, every time he speaks, I was like, he can say whatever, bro.
And he's in Saints Row 3 as Keith David as the vice president.
It's interesting you guys say that about like the back and forth. Cause one of my notes for like episode 1 was like I remember like, so I told you guys to watch it and I wasn't gonna watch it. I was gonna talk about it because I remember all this stuff. But I was like, let me just still go watch, especially the stuff that you watch, Xavier, to kind of see things from your standpoint. And one thing that I did realize, I'm like, man, this first episode, it seemed like they were gonna try to like take everything and just do one episode of it, like talk about it all and do one episode. Then they decided like, you know what? No, we can expand on this, which makes sense of why they had the different interviews and different time periods. They probably decided like, hey, look, we can probably still add more to this and it has more legs and we can kind of explain some stuff because the first episode really explains everything.
It was perfect. And I wish instead of the first 4 episodes being what they were, I wish that they had done
that in a
that very first
order.
episode. Chronological order, not even necessarily, but then they would have focused on the wrestlers after that. They didn't need to do, this was the attitude. Oh, look at that. You guys all stuck. And
you guys are bitches. Yeah.
But you get what I'm saying? They're like, this was the attitude era and this was the NWO era and everything. The first 2 episodes should have been that, not the first 4.
This man's meat
and then they should have focused.
I'm sorry, but
for the people that are listening. So D-Mark and Jamie were trying to open this fucking bottle of apple ciroc, and Tim tried it and passed it to D-Mark, and he tried, he couldn't. He handed it to me, I opened it immediately, handed it to Tim, and they were both like dumbfounded. They're like, what the fuck?
This man's meat.
It's all those memes.
He got ground beef now, bro.
Well, I don't jerk off with my left hand. So
it's like when you break the casing on a sausage and it's flat and it just squeezes out. But no, I didn't like how they kept reiterating over the first 4 or 5 episodes the same information. Even when they were talking about the wrestlers themselves, they went over the same information again. It was made in 2014, and I would assume Michael Jordan has more money than all wrestling combined because one's good and one's not. But
wow,
whoa, weird. What a weird.
But you don't know which one I'm talking about.
Oh, you left again? Okay.
Jamie, you looked it up.
Michael Jordan's net worth is $2.1 billion. I know that.
That's probably worth more than
that's what I'm looking.
Vinnie Mac.
Not than Vinnie Mac. I'm talking about wrestling as a whole.
Oh, there's no way.
Ain't no way.
What are we looking at?
I want to know how much money wrestling makes in a year. Like what is?
Well, what does Michael Jordan generate in a year? Hold on.
No, what's it worth? I'm sorry. I'm trying to.
$5.71 billion.
Is that what WWE?
That's what the WWE is valued at.
Yeah, suck a dick.
It's nuts that Michael Jordan is basically
that is kind of wild.
That.
That's still crazy. Yes.
He's one dude.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean,
and it takes a whole corporation.
Yeah, but
he also like he was a grandfather of basketball. So like, Michael Jordan, grandfather of basketball.
What you mean?
He was the one
if by grandfather you.
Well, the reason why I say that is because he's the one to take it to the next level.
So
you can't disagree with that.
Yeah,
He's the grandfather.
Like, yeah.
Jamie, who the grandfather?
A basketball.
Will Chamberlain.
No, man, Michael Jordan's going to take it to the next level.
Will Chamberlain.
No, we're not doing this.
That's a great grandfather.
I'm not doing
Will
this.
Chamberlain has more.
Grandfather is like just the only nigga who did it first. Like,
All right, well, whatever.
So the grandfather of basketball is the white guy that invented it with apple baskets.
What is it? Oscar Robinson? Is that
That's what I'm
apple
saying.
basket?
you saying
I'm saying the guy that made the game. Oscar Robinson didn't make the game. He played the game.
Oh, okay.
Can we call him old apple basket?
Old apple basket ass.
That's the guy who invented basketball. Is old apple basket.
Yeah.
grandfather of basketball.
So we talked about the first episode, and I also, by the way, just to wrap that up, I also hated the way they did it. Rewatching it, the first time I watched it, I thought it was great because you kind of the episodic thing when they actually start going into like the different like things that like talk about DX and talk about Montreal Screwjob and Stone Cold and how they came to be and how they affect the Attitude Era specifically. It was cool they were tying it back, but they didn't do a great job like they did with The Last Dance.
It was 5 different documentaries.
Yeah.
That's how I felt. Like it wasn't. I'm not saying it was bad. I actually enjoyed watching it. It was great.
No, it was a good watch. Yeah.
But I legitimately was like, you could have wrapped that up 2 episodes ago.
Let me ask a question real quick. A little off. It's not off. Okay, question. Because you watch wrestling all the time. If Hulk Hogan had ever come back with hair, would you have been mad? Because I can't imagine somebody with that much money let his hair be that bad for that long.
Yeah.
I would have never taken the bandana off.
Yeah.
That's the eyebrow. It's like Anthony Davis. He had to keep it.
It's funny that you say that because I also thought the same thing. Like, man, why did Hulk Hogan just like let it go or do something about like get hair plugs or something?
Never take the bandana off. Literally sew it into his hair.
You're in a fight.
Not a real one.
Like when he became older in TNA, like he actually had like a super fucking bandana.
You know what?
Yeah.
You know what's kind of weird about that? Why was I offended by that?
What?
Like he just said, no. He just said, you said Hulk Hogan's in a fight. And then he said, not a real fight. I said, oh. Hey, wrestling's real. I know it's not.
I got to make you watch the Dark Side of the Ring where it was.
I will give them all the credit in the world. They are super athletic, and I don't have any idea how you can jump off of a building and land and be like, no,
bro, Shaman, man.
Like,
probably one of the coolest people ever.
Coolest.
He's just some dude. He's like, hey, I'm going to jump off this roof. Is that cool?
Air Force Ones
but it's
and a jersey.
It's
And a
unreal.
baseball jersey.
Yeah.
It's unreal.
Mm-hmm.
But again, Hulk Hogan didn't do that, and he just seemed to do the same jump up and drop a leg on people's necks over and over and over.
But he was the Hulkster.
He did one move the whole game.
But
Or the
remember,
whole
Yeah,
So
he has
he was
3
a-
moves. That's it.
But again, he was in the inception
bald.
of.
made of leather, the leg drop.
That's it. Boom. 1, 2, 3. Hollywood Hulk Hogan is your
Would you like to
WCW
be-
I love
champion.
how he's like, I'm going to be edgy. I won't dye my beard, brother. It's fine. Like, that was his.
Hold on. I gotta be more edgy. How do I do this? Mustache blonde. Black beard, blonde.
You know what the wildest part is though? I was legitimately.
Yeah, he looked real cool.
I was like, oh my god, he's so edgy.
I thought it was makeup when they first brought him out. I was like, I don't know why I thought his hair was really that color, but I was shocked. I thought, oh my god, did he dye it like that? I'm like, no, Xavier, he didn't dye it like that because nobody's hair is the color his hair is.
Bro, you couldn't tell me shit when I was young, bro.
Yeah, he looks so cool.
When I was like 12, bro. In WR, 12 around there, 11? No, like
no,
10,
dude, you're
8,
younger than that.
8.
Because you got to think about 1996 when they were like blew up. You had to have been 6, 7?
Yeah. So about 7 years old, bro, you can tell me shit about NWO Hogan. Like I never liked. I am a real man. Like I never like. I hated that one. But he said, "Hey." He said, "Look at my shirt. I ain't got no sleeves." I was like, "Hell yeah, he ain't got no sleeves."
I really
the
thought
weightlifting belt.
I thought while watching him, like, how much money do you think WCW spent on his shirts? Like, did they buy him?
all of them.
Did they buy him really shitty shirts so he could rip them? Were they pre-ripped a little bit so they ripped easier, or did he just get like
How dare
Hanes
you
beefy tees
disrespect
and rip them apart?
No, they
Hulk
probably had a
Hogan's
pre-rip.
pythons. That
No,
motherfucker.
They probably just cut a small snip so he could rip them.
No, he's the big. Okay,
Yeah,
hold on. First, I'm really excited to talk about this because last time we had talked about we're going to make you watch wrestling because we wanted you because you had no idea who Hollywood Hulk Hogan was.
I knew who Hulk Hogan was,
Right?
and I knew,
But we made a reference. And you're like, I don't know who
Hollywood
that is.
Hulk Hogan just wore a black shirt, but I didn't understand that he was like a heel and he was part of the actual giant fucking dude in the fake Spanish guy.
Yeah. So I'm glad you said that. So one thing I will say, so this was what, 1995, 6. I can't remember what exact the time frame is. Can you look up to see when exactly the Outsiders
Jamie,
invaded,
look that up?
or when Jamie looked this up? When
1995.
Was it 1995 when NWO?
He can fact check me, but I'm telling you, I remember the numbers pretty good.
Okay. So I will say this is that it's interesting looking back at it, and even like me reflecting on watching this a second time, is that I loved Hulk Hogan. I loved Razor Ramon, Scott Hall. I loved Kevin Nash. I loved all these people. And it made me realize that they had a whole career already at WWE, went to WCW, and that's when I got to know them. And I loved those people. Right. And it was so interesting to be like, I knew they were
96.
Okay, so I was 6 years old, right? So like 6 years old, 7 years old, I was watching wrestling, and I loved WCW. I remember I was a WCW guy specifically because they had these guys. And in my head, I think it's because they told me they're from WWE, or they implied. So that's why I liked WWE and WWF. And I switched over as a kid watching WWE once like DX started kind of coming to power and stuff like that. But I kind of watched both for a long time also. But I was really, really, really big into WCW, and I remember all that stuff happening. But it was interesting for me to be like, damn, I really remember like them being polarizing characters, the characters that I really, really liked. I liked them better when they were in WCW.
You want to, I can agree with that. And
Like talking about like what Macho Man,
no,
Lex
while you've been
Luger.
talking, I literally was like, there's a game. I'll show you this cover. You might not have the same feeling, but like the cover of this game, bro. That's when I played with.
It's probably what, WCW versus NWO.
No,
Revenge. No. Oh, WrestleMania X.
WrestleMania X8 on the GameCube.
On the GameCube,
It
bro.
sounds stupid, but I played that game so much that
That's the one you can have like a million finishers, right? Yeah,
and
I hated that one.
Hollywood, it was a terrible game.
Mhm.
Except
it was
Hulk
awful.
Hogan, because he has the 3 moves.
Bro, he got 3 of the
drop.
best moves. But like, yeah, like leg drop. And then
He
point,
hulked up,
the point, and then
Hair plugs.
and then
Leg drop.
No, he had the big boot. It's
Yeah,
big boot, then
big
leg
boot,
drop.
right?
Mhm.
But yeah, man, bro, like, one of the things that so the like the Hulk Hogan thing not being impressive. I know this has nothing to do with the docuseries, but it kind of does, because it reminds me from the start to finish of why I was like, man, yeah, wrestling has become a whole different animal. Like Hulk Hogan was on the end of where. Showmanship has different terms or different things.
Well, he was
like
at the end of the
Hulk Hogan
whole
was
shtick part of it,
Right.
like the
So
character.
They
part.
still have characters, but you're required to do, like, before Hulkamania. Hulk Hogan was like here. Hulkamania was like what made him accessible. They were like, wow. So the aura about just seeing him win and seeing him save the day was the cool part. And then for me, the reason why I was like I didn't like that is because I'm like he's not doing anything. He's just like you said, he's just doing a leg
definitely
drop.
wouldn't have worn a seatbelt back in those days until his commercial,
Right.
and then I definitely would have worn a seatbelt.
Hulk Hogan wilded out, like, you know what I'm saying? It was like when they were pouring, like, that's why the Attitude Era, which we'll talk, I'm sure we'll get to later. The Attitude Era is the greatest era of wrestling. You can't tell me shit. I've watched recent wrestling and I'm like, oh, that's great, but it wasn't.
They
not
actually
like
say
that.
to this date, it was still the most profitable and most viewed era
There's
of.
the promo between
The promos were so great.
Stone Cold versus The Rock going into WrestleMania. Jamie, could you look up which WrestleManias that the Stone Cold versus The Rock? There was one where the promo was so good, like it chills. I still get chills watching it. And I think the Hulk Hogan was at the end of the shtick, like, where it's like, oh, it's bigger than that, and then people have to start being athletes. Like the wrestling we see now is so much different than the wrestling of the past. Like I know it. Like when you watch the wrestling of the past, like watching a documentary had me going like, what?
Yeah,
like,
they weren't doing a whole lot.
No, they weren't doing a whole lot.
Yeah.
What? But then like Steve, even like Stone Cold in his earlier days, I was like, I mean, I guess he's doing his work rate's okay compared to like the wrestlers of the
it was
day.
more
but
like
back then,
it was
his
just
work rate was a
stand-up.
ton.
Right.
It just looked like stand-up wrestling, like the actual sport wrestling, and then they.
Well, back in the day
Sticked
too,
it up.
they try to make it so like they still kind of wanted you to feel like it was a real fight. So that's what it's a lot of hitting you in the face and punches and stuff like that. They still wanted to kind of shoot.
But it was good versus bad though, which
Yeah,
was
yeah.
very.
But we're talking about in
formulaic.
ring. Yeah. What the fuck?
Heel versus face.
What'd you say, Jamie?
WrestleMania 19.
WrestleMania 19. What year was it?
2003.
2003.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that promo. If you have a chance, take a break. I won't be mad. If you're watching this on YouTube, take a break. You're watching on Spotify, take a break. Go and watch that promo. Come back, and then you'll be like, yeah, these guys are right. And I'm more invested, and I'm going to subscribe to their OnlyFans.
That's right. OnlyFans.
Shout out.
Subscribe, please. But yeah, so kind of back to the original question I wanted to ask. So I love. It's interesting to watch like the whole like they have trademarks and stuff like that, and him, you know, when you had Scott Hall and Kevin Nash come through, and they were kind of tiptoeing the whole like, hey, I'm not Razor, but I'm not gonna necessarily say that I'm not Razor, but I'll let you assume that I'm Razor. Because I want that clout, right? I want the people to be like, oh yeah, fucking WWE's invading. Oh fuck yeah, let's fucking go.
So smart from just a marketing standpoint. Like, you know who we are. And I was like, oh my God, that is brilliant because you can't get in trouble technically.
Right.
Because you never said anything.
Assuming. Right, exactly.
He's just saying, you know who I am.
Exactly.
Well, if I know who you are, but technically you're not that person, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
So one of my notes, you know, to be demarked for this episode, I put
after the Shawn Michaels. Read this. I literally wrote this.
It's not my fault. I like being organized and efficient.
My next note after the Shawn Michaels one was Eric Bischoff. Oh, sorry. I want to say the third one, but I'm still going to say what my second note was. Eric Bischoff smells like a piece of smug. What?
How do you know what he smells like?
What I wanted to say was Eric Bischoff looks like a smug piece of shit.
But he smells
like a smug.
Does he taste like dog water?
I put Eric Bischoff smells like Eric Bischoff smells like a piece of a smug piece of shit. Is what I wrote down for whatever reason.
What you meant looks like?
Yeah, he looks like a piece of shit. I don't know what the fuck going on autocorrect, but
shit and smell like
he has every right to be smug because he fucking tore that shit.
Hold on. Next thing was Eric Bischoff has, in capital letters, balls for him to go in and be like, hey, I'm just an announcer. They had put out a job posting for executive producer. I said, fuck it, let me apply. He applied. He got it. He's like, oh shit, well, what do I do now? Well, I'm going to fucking do whatever. And every single time that, you know, they presented with a challenge, he's like, fuck it, I'm going to be ballsy. I don't give a fuck. And he really did not give a fuck. And as you watch these episodes, you start noticing a trend of Eric Bischoff just fucking having he has the balls of fucking Pluto. Like just the Pluto and his balls.
The smallest balls and the one that nobody cares about anymore.
The size of Pluto.
He used to have regular balls, but then they downgraded his balls to dwarf balls.
Why y'all talk? Listen, I was going to say Saturn, but Pluto came out. I'm gonna be honest.
Why would you not say Jupiter? As Jupiter got the biggest balls.
No, because I love Saturn with the rings. Come on, dog.
But you saying his balls have rings?
Yeah, duh.
Okay, hey, you should get that checked out.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you know, whatever.
But yeah, so did Eric Bischoff? So unpopular. I mean, did Eric Bischoff do anything revolutionary?
Hold on. Don't do it. This is from the aspect of the documentary. But I know what you're gonna say. You're gonna say Eric Bischoff, he gets a lot of credit for coming up with NWO, but really he saw Japan was doing that and he said, oh, that's really neat. We can do that here in the States.
Right. But okay. So I guess this may not be a problem from Bischoff's. Actually, you know what? Maybe I'm blaming the wrong person. Like, so the reason why WCW was doomed to fail is they went with they tried to go with the super team logic of sports, you know, where
they just took the greats like the all-stars.
But yeah, they took aging all-stars and said, yeah, we can win a title with this. And it was great for a while, but if you don't bring your own talent to home, you know, to roost, they're not going to be able to sustain. Like, so,
and they were kind of doing that too.
They were doing exactly that.
Keep watching the documentary.
While I get that, while people don't want to be a feeder league, you know, like, you know, the ECW never wanted to be a feeder league for the WWE. That's kind of the best thing you could hope for as an organization, not to be absorbed, but to be partnered, you know? And so the WCW's problem was they did not value their own talent. Like, how weird is it that the WCW would let young people go? Right. The WCW would let young people go to the WWE and they're superstars now. And then they would just buy the aging superstars who are leaving, which is great for a time.
Well, it's good when you want to legitimize what you're doing. It's basically it's Bellator that does that, right?
Yeah.
With the UFC.
Did that. They're garbage now.
No, but that's what I'm saying.
They still buy the UFC.
They were like, you know, oh, Tito Ortiz isn't in the UFC. Come on over. Ken Shamrock, come on over. And then they just took the people that like everybody loves watching these fights. And then you're like, well, they're not doing as much cool. They're not jumping off of cages. They're not beating the shit out of each other with chairs and garbage cans. Although I laughed my ass off so hard when it's like, the WWE was still using regular people jobs for their characters. And then that guy pops up and he's like, it's one thing to make fun of me for being a trash man, but when you hit somebody with my garbage can, and he gets all really like fucking indignant about it, like, you may not think what I do is important, but you better never disrespect my tools. I'm just like, oh my God. Who? And then they're like, look, these rednecks come out and everything. I'm like, they still had 2.4 million viewers every week, and I feel like those are the people we don't want voting for president because they watch that garbage roll through when the WWE is like, we have no real people of note, but we got rednecks and trash men.
Bro, we watch people in tights fight aliens and clearly create their own problems, and we're happy about it.
That didn't work until 2007, though.
There were superhero movies before then.
They all did that until Blade, and Blade wasn't doing that. Blade fucked everything up.
Good.
The Batmans were okay. Batman Forever is the greatest movie ever.
Bat Nibbles, let's go.
I'm sorry.
Let's go.
I was discounting Batman. I was talking about Marvel.
Mr. Freeze.
Oh my God, you can't tell me.
I love that movie, though.
I love that movie too.
It's time
Holy Rusted Metal, Batman.
It's time to put you on ice.
Holy Rusted
Black
Metal.
Man was a great movie.
I also love that
Black
George
Man's fantastic.
Clooney. George Clooney made a fantastic
Again,
Bruce
bro,
he
Wayne,
did.
but not a great Batman.
No, he made a great Batman.
No, he did not.
That's
He made
like
a great Bruce Wayne.
That's like
Great
Tobey
Bruce
Maguire
Wayne.
made a good Peter Parker, but a terrible Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And then Andrew Garfield made a really good Spider-Man, but a terrible Peter Parker.
Yeah, it sucks, bro. It does suck. But going back to the Outsiders.
See? Yeah. Dropping some facts on some people. And that's why Tom Holland is fucking perfect.
Yeah, he really is.
Right.
You said Marvel was? Because I'm pretty sure DC's sucking it up right now.
Right, but you're right. Marvel was behind, but they caught up. That's a whole different episode.
I can't. No, we'll take. Yep. That. You know what? There we go. There's another episode. You guys recorded it. Part of our meeting. We usually have it afterwards, but we just had it right now.
You should pay us for that time.
Yeah, bitch.
Jeez.
Heel Maui.
Go Maui.
Yeah. So to me, it was really cool to kind of see. And one thing that I did note, it makes sense a lot why they have like the business practices that they do now. Because one thing that I noticed that they would let like their top people leave, at least the big name people go, without like burying them or making them seem like they're pieces of shit like they do now when they do on their way out. Because I was like, God damn. So they got Hulk Hogan, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, Lex Luger, Macho Man Randy Savage, like they're the entire top of their card. Sting,
Bonesaw McGraw.
yeah, and Hacksaw Jim Duggan is what you meant to say.
No, Macho Man's in the first Spider-Man movie, and he's Bonesaw McGraw.
I forgot. I always forget that Macho Man was alive when that came out, and he was Bonesaw. And I'm like, man, R.I.P. Randy Savage.
He's really, really, really thick compared to what he was in the documentary.
Macho Man. Oh, yeah. I'm going to grab your neck and I'm going to... But anyways, but I thought it was really interesting that they...
I don't like that you stopped.
I was like, what was about to happen?
I need
I was
closure.
start talking dirty.
Yeah,
That's where I felt like it was going. I was like, I'm
Whenever
about
I'm
to
having
get
sex.
fucked.
This is what he does at home.
Yeah, whenever I'm having sex, I just turn into Macho Man Randy Savage.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to smack your ass there, girl.
I'm arriving.
I'm arriving. Because I don't say that.
I'm almost home.
But yeah, their entire top of the card was WWE, castaways, but they were also really fucking
I
great
wouldn't say
wrestlers.
castaways.
No, the problem is that they thought like it's time for the new breed. The problem is that they needed to. This is obviously really easy to say with 2020 vision,
Right.
I'm so upset that there's a whole year of that.
Yes, sir. I'm gonna use it all year too. I'm not gonna lie.
They promised in all the memes, this is the last year I can say I don't have 2020 vision.
No, it's all year long.
And now it's we have 2020
I
vision.
love it. But yeah, all their good guys left the top of the card.
We don't have 2020 vision anymore. Oh, we ready.
Like, this ain't last year. I don't have 2020 vision anymore.
It's all downhill.
Oh man, I couldn't. I don't even want to get there. Anyway, so talking about the Outsiders come in, and this is what I think episode 2 or 3. But the Outsiders came in and they made their big splash. And then when they came through, I like that they were really smart about like, playing around with, hey, I'm Razor, but I'm not Razor. I'm Kevin Nash. I'm not Kevin Nash. And I think it's also interesting to talk about like So people talk about now, like John Cena is the equivalent of what Hulk Hogan was then, right? And people always like wish that John Cena would turn heel. And even myself, like I really wish that he turned back heel.
So he was heel for a while.
Yeah. When he was Dr. Thugonomics.
Man, that's the best. My God,
best John Cena.
The best John Cena. I hate this new. Like that's one of the things I started hating about wrestling is that like so Randy Orton was too much of like. It's hard to describe, but like John Cena was just the right amount where like he was kooky, but also like I don't know. It's hard to describe. That's a different conversation.
Yeah, Randy Orton just takes himself a little bit too seriously.
A little bit too seriously. Yeah. Like he's an artiste, and I don't like that.
That makes sense. Yeah. That makes sense for sure.
Right.
But shit, and I forgot what was I even talking about. I forgot what was I even talking about.
Talking about the cast off. So you said the WCW.
Yeah. So they had Ric Flair. And you talk about all the big names. Even like you think about, they still had another like. So all those people like still had like another 5 or 10 years of wrestling like they did after all that too. And like one of my notes too, I talk about like Hulk Hogan has been looking 35 for 20 years. Like if you look back to like WrestleMania 1 Hulk Hogan and like he looks exactly like he was a little thinner, but he looks perpetually.
Hold on. So you mean he looked 55 when he was 35 because he does not look any older now.
Oh no,
he did at WrestleMania 1.
No, he looks like he's 50 now, but he's like 70. But like for like when he was like,
hey Jamie, how old is Hulk Hogan?
Yeah,
Jamie, could you look that up, please?
How old is Hulk Hogan? But he looked like he was 35 for like 20 years. Like think about like when he was WWE.
Joe Rogan, I know you're real famous. But please don't sue us.
It's not our fault that our technician got the same name as his technician. Calm down, guys.
That's fair.
Yeah,
it's a pretty common fucking name.
You can't guess.
You ain't the guess. Are you the definitive answerer?
I'm guessing a nerd.
Like what the fuck? You don't have 4G? You still waiting on loading and shit?
It's his internet.
Wow, what the fuck?
It's his internet.
But anyways, Hulk Hogan was perpetually 35 for 20 years. And it just confused the fuck out of me.
66. Oh,
he's 66.
Close.
Yeah. But he just looked old as shit. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what was in the water back then or what isn't now, but people just look old as fuck.
Have you seen those pictures that are like people used to look older and then you see somebody like they're 18 and you're like they're 82.
Right. Yeah, they look 35. Like the high school graduation pictures from like 1980, they all look 45.
It's insane.
It's crazy. But I think everybody had haircuts. I think people had more. So I was going to say, I think it's the way people wore their hair. Like the hair was long and they all had mustaches for some reason.
No, they all had full beards and shit. There was like one kid in my entire high school who could grow a beard.
But everybody in the 70s had beards.
Yeah, insane.
But yeah, so is he getting pizza? Oh, okay.
That's what Jamie's here for, bro.
That's his sole purpose. That's why we hired him.
You want me to touch your pizza slice? No, I didn't.
You don't want the Rona. All right, so so I don't think so that's why I was saying I don't know if the talent acquisition was Eric Bischoff's department. That's why I said I don't know if necessarily it was his fault for having that logic. Like, the war can't be won if all you're doing is waiting for the WWE to get rid of people.
And I'm glad you brought that up because that was something out of the shit that I watched. You saw Bischoff do one really good thing. You watched him do something fantastic in acquiring Hulk Hogan and then, Macho Man and Razor and
everyone.
And you saw him steal these people to legitimize his business. And then he got to the point where he
got them right.
Steal them.
Mm-hmm.
He purchased them.
He stole some of them. He swindled the WWE out of some people. He was like, hey,
those contracts are up.
Lex Luger, don't tell nobody. You feel uncomfortable? Feel uncomfortable. Like he forced him. He was like, I don't want it. He's like, you're going to do it and you're going to like it. And if you don't like it, I don't care. You're still going to do it.
Well, the problem was that, Ted Turner was like, bro, listen, I'll let you pay whatever you want.
Write in what you want. I was like, bro, I would have left my heartbeat too.
Right, yeah,
but
second.
The whole thing that he did.
Like you had to go from working 300 days to 120.
That's crazy.
When Kevin Nash was like, I told my wife and she's like, no,
you gotta go. You gotta go.
I didn't want to leave and I wasn't going to leave. And she's like, motherfucker, you leaving.
And I will say it makes sense a lot. Go ahead, sorry.
The thing, I thought that was great. But then you watch it and you see McMahon get his dick kicked in for fucking 2 years. And he still keeps saying, how do I innovate? How do I take what they did, but make it different enough that I can take people back? And he was always having a plan. Whereas Bischoff never really seemed to have a plan past, I want to legitimize
Nah,
WCW.
he got lost in a sauce, bro. Like once he joined MWO and he was like the center of attention, like you can
But
just
that's
tell
the thing.
he's
But
a
he still
fucking
didn't even.
egotistical.
He didn't plan that. Other people were like, "Hey, this is logical," and he's like, "Is it? I can be even more famous." He never really had a plan past how do I get people to take it seriously. It's not like when he's like, "Well, we don't want to be Southern anymore, so if you've got a Southern accent, you don't work here." Like he had one really great thing, but then you see all these things that McMahon did, and you're just like, he was really the better business person. He was really the smarter individual. And I think that's why WWE obviously made it.
Well, you got to remember too, like this guy, he didn't have any experience. He jumped in and was like, fuck it. I'm going to, like it was all just him betting on himself. And he was, he was knocking out of the park, for so long. The problem is that he didn't see like, the times were changing and, to get the young people.
He didn't
want
to show too much of the nipple.
Yeah.
Or the tit. Too much of the tit.
Yeah.
You show a lot of the tit.
You're showing a lot of the tit. And I love Vince McMahon, like recalling having a conversation with Ted Turner. Like he like
his
so
His Ted Turner impersonation. I had to stop and rewind it twice because he's sitting there. He's like, no, we have a better product. He's like, you don't have a better product. And he just sits there making fun of him like that. I'm like, this is great.
I love it. And one of the things too, so not to keep on going backwards, but when the NWO came out, I love the fact that people, and you don't necessarily know, there's a lot of other stuff other documentaries about that incident where like people are throwing trash and you see them like kind of rolling with the punches. But to them to be like, I'm pissed off because people are throwing batteries, people are throwing trash at me. And I just fucking like, back in the day, you live your role. So you're reacting, but you still have obviously your constraint. And to see like Kevin Nash knock that one guy out that ran in. Kevin Nash was like,
I thought it was a joke at first. And then you watch, I'm going to call him Ramon because I don't know his real name.
Scott Hall.
Scott Hall?
Yes, Scott Hall.
Scott Hall.
I was like, Scott Hall.
I talk very fast.
That's a really good
He was
name.
stomping on that guy.
When he stomped that guy, I was like, oh, that's not a joke. And then Kevin Nash was like, I'd clipped this drunk fan that ran in. I was like, bro, that was not a clip. You hit him in the face with an elbow and then fucking Razor's in there jumping on his face. And he's like, that didn't last long. I'm like, that guy's dead. You guys need to go check. They kicked him. Nobody even pulled him out of the ring. They rolled his fat ass out of the ring. And do you have any idea? No, that guy, no. You saw that guy.
Was back.
The kid from Up is egg-shaped. That guy was fat.
Oh, God.
Big Brown.
No, he was not big boned. He was just big fat.
Oh, no, baby.
What did you do?
But I do love that they were just in like getting trashed with shit. It was like, what? Hulk Hogan, how dare you betray us? But you know what? As a kid, I was like, what the fuck, Hulk Hogan? What the fuck?
I loved it.
I loved Hollywood Hulk Hogan so much.
Did you ever watch Hulk Hogan's reality show and realize his daughter looks just like him, but they try to pass her off as attractive?
I can't even say it right. I can't say that because I think she's bad, bro.
Yeah,
I can't say it because
she's
that's
nice.
Yeah, but you also probably look at China
nice.
and think China's bad.
Yeah,
that's
fair.
China's bad. China's bad sometimes.
No, I was wondering the whole time.
She could crush my skull.
We can go back. We can talk about real stuff in a minute, but no joke. When they were doing like the Generation X and China's in there, I'm like, this bitch never talks. I'm like, why does she not talk?
She not talk.
And then the one time she opens her mouth to talk, I'm like, that's why she doesn't talk.
Yep.
I'm like, that voice does not look like it should come out of her.
Rest in peace, China.
Yeah, R.I.P.
R.I.P.
She's dead?
Wow.
Whoa.
Yikes. It's awkward. Yeah, she big dead, bro.
She been dead
Tons
for
of
a
people
while.
are dead, so I mean, you know.
That's
all my
true.
friends
That
are
is
dead.
true.
If she's been dead for a while, has it been over 7 years?
It's been a minute, bro.
2016.
Jamie, look it up.
It's been 4 years. No,
If
it's been 4 years.
If it's been over 7, the rules of South Park and comedy say that it is funny.
Here we go with those rules.
The rules, if it's been after 7 years, that's why 9/11's funny now.
I don't know about that, bro. As a New Yorker, I'm really offended you say something like that.
I lived in New York when it happened. Get out of here.
So did I.
Yeah, okay, well.
I
can make
Hold on,
jokes about
just
it.
shut the fuck up. Upstate New York does not fucking count.
I still lived in New York on an army base.
Oh, she died in 2016.
I just said that.
Yeah, bro. That's
Were
crazy.
you on an army base? I was.
I was not.
Okay.
I was in the city. Yeah. I was in the
better at your
epicenter.
job.
It's the internet.
That's crazy, bro. I can't believe that he just has like 2G internet trying to tell us information. What the fuck?
But yeah, so I loved the NWO, but in general, the Hollywood the Hollywood Hulk Hogan phase, all that stuff, the Stone Cold Steve Austin thing, it's super interesting to see that Bischoff's mismanagement of young talent is why the WWE is so. It's crazy. They lost the grip. They had the grip, and instead of going like, "Hey, okay, we've got what a great play." Say, let's take your talent, and get our name in there.
So one thing that I don't know how you watch the whole thing? Yeah. Okay, so you didn't, but one thing that they talked about is a lot of the politicking.
Did they ever really address how they kind of ignored the rest of WCW and only cared about NWO?
Yes,
because I didn't see shit about WCW for episodes.
Yeah, that's what he said in one of the episodes.
Yeah. So they talk about like a lot of the top guys, like Hogan, Nash, whatever. Like they were in charge of essentially booking. So like they're like, I'm not gonna fucking lose. So they booked their matches.
They buried everybody. So they buried everybody.
Yeah, they always just roll everybody over. That's fun to a point, but
it's the UFC's problem. That's why I said the UFC has a big problem where they have a contender who's really good, and he's good, not quite there, but he's pretty good. And then they'll just be like, hey, you know what we should do? Put him against a buzzsaw. And it's like, what? But no, it's his third fight in. Let's not put him against Jacare or somebody like that. Let's let him get him a couple more dubs. Like Bryce Mitchell, they're doing the right thing. Dude's on his seventh fight, but he's not really fought a ton of it. Everybody who he's fought has been undefeated, and he's cooked them. And I know for a fact the UFC is going to be like, yeah, give him that time.
It was like Sam Hagen also. Like they took their time like grooming that kid. Like he's been in the UFC for a while. I think he has like seven wins. He's like a 7 wins.
Who's that guy you hate? I don't remember his name.
Oh, we're not going to talk about Jake Shields.
Jake Shields. Oh,
I love Jake Shields.
I hate him so much.
I just remember sitting in beat and be like, "Fuck you, Jake Shields."
Yeah, I will say Jake Shields, man. I do not know
Jake Shields.
I
love you, dude.
I don't know you. Just the way you carry yourself, I don't like.
Yeah, but like so that was a similar. So I feel like that was a similar problem where they're like since the NWO booked all their own matches, there could be a guy who was on the up and up. Great charisma, great style, great. Like he had the it factor, and then they're like, okay, well he's got to go through us, so guess
he got to lose.
Gotta lose, and that's we'll talk about that in a little bit. That was the invasion arc. That's what one of the failures of the invasion.
Yep.
Later on, but you can continue.
No, no, for sure, and that's I was just kind of letting X know because you have the conception like why they just steamroll like. It's because they were in charge of deciding who was winning and losing. And if you're in charge, you want to look the best because it gives you more money, right?
But when did they fail? Because I know WCW is not around anymore, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, but when?
Well, you'd have to watch the documentary and figure
I'm
that out.
going to.
Yeah, spoiler.
Right. But honestly, one of the.
Are you mad as hell?
What?
He's like, fuck, I just want to know the answer now.
It's not a spoiler alert for something that happened years ago. I just don't know when it happened.
Yeah, you'll find out though. Watch the Monday Night Wars on WWE Network for free. Just subscribe.
It is free.
Just tell
everybody.
Maui, just tell him.
2001.
No, we good.
There we go.
Wow.
But explain
Spoiler alert,
nuance,
2001.
Maui.
Yeah. So a lot of and you'll if you watched all the documentary, they talk about how essentially
I like having Jamie here.
keep it nice in check. But essentially what happens is that with everybody getting buried, a lot of the younger people went to the WWE, people like Chris Jericho, Rey Mysterio, Chris Benoit, RIP, Eddie Guerrero. A lot of the younger guys.
I know that name.
Eddie Guerrero, of course.
Eddie
He's
Guerrero
the
was one of the greatest things in history.
Yes, absolutely.
Latino Heat was bro.
I love him so much.
Oh my God.
Jamie over here giving me fucking death stares because I just said I know Eddie Guerrero. That's the guy from Tekken, right?
No, that's Eddie Gordo.
God damn it. I almost swung on him.
I don't actually think I know who Eddie Guerrero is.
Bro, there's very few times in my life where I've cried, and one of the times that I have cried was when Eddie Guerrero finally got the heavyweight.
So great. That the whole moment, and what really sucks about the whole Chris Benoit being a piece of shit and murdering his fucking wife and kids is that we can't even talk about how great of a moment that WrestleMania was when they were best friends. And they talk about it. If you guys watch the Dark Side of the Ring, they talk about that stuff. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. That was disgusting what he did. So I don't give a fuck. But I mean, I respect him as a performer, but what he did was terrible. So, but unfortunately, you can't even talk about how great that WrestleMania was and leading up to it and
because of the person involved.
Exactly,
sucks,
and it sucks. Yeah, it tarnishes Eddie's legacy.
Chris Benoit is one of the was a great performer. And that's what sucks.
Yeah,
it sucks to have a guy who man, bro, when he hit that crossface,
it was the greatest. It was my favorite finisher.
Yeah, it was one of the best finishers.
Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, nice.
But
he had a beard in some interviews. And some interviews he had no beard.
That's a production issue, dude.
Nothing's greater than Kevin Nash. You'd be like young Kevin Nash, dude, and then older, like dark hair that's dyed, obviously, and then like all gray.
All gray, like, no hair Kevin Nash is fucking, he's like men's, like, you're gonna like the way he looks. I guarantee it. Yeah. That's what he looks like, though, is that he loves Men's Warehouse, and that's what he does now.
He was wearing a suit. Yeah, he was.
That's what, yeah.
Hey, listen, Kevin Nash actually was one of my fucking favorite wrestlers.
He looks like a kid I went to high school with, so I automatically was just discrediting everything he did, because I'm like,
I love Kevin Nash. Yeah, and I will say, that motherfucker was just sexy as shit. Can you imagine being fucking 6'7", fucking that pretty? I don't care how that sounds. I'm just
I'm saying
he had a handsome man. He had very, very nice hair. Also, though, watching him throw Rey Mysterio head first into that trailer, that's for the parts.
He darted him straight into the fucking
like a long dart. The thing is, though, there's zero way that they filmed that didn't actually happen that same way. There's a difference between wrestling and then lawn darting a man into the side of a trailer, and they just get up like, no, brush it off, ain't nothing happened. I was like, how? How do you actually do that?
Man, right. That's the okay. That's so I know you said
how do you brace yourself?
No, I'm saying that. I know that, like he said, I don't get why people watch it. That's why
I get why people watch it. Again, I'm saying it's not a sport and it's not something that I would want to watch.
Right. No, I get it. It's
Mankind. Xavier would be.
I love Mankind. Right. No. I even told Lenny that I love Mankind. He's one of the only people that I ever followed.
Anything that's jackass related, Xavier would be like, I got a fucking hard dick for it.
But like what?
Mankind looks like he sits at home and he eats nothing but glass and rusted metal.
Yeah, and you would fucking love the Sandman. I can't wait till you fucking watch the ECW stuff. You're gonna fucking have a Woody the entire time.
I didn't know. I'd seen.
I think there's a game. There's an ECW game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So I saw that, from where we all used to work.
Yeah. At some point.
Shout out to not that place.
Yeah. Fuck that place.
But I like that place.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I knew the ECW was a thing. I didn't realize that ECW was professional backyard wrestling. Pretty much.
It's the best, bro. But again, so the cool thing about this documentary is seeing that these things needed to happen. So wrestling had to be one of the things I don't like about the current state of wrestling and why I haven't watched it in a while, but I remember I was talking to him about a year ago and he said I should watch wrestling again. So I started getting back into it. But I remember when I started watching it, I was like, NXT is they're doing it wrong. Like, the reason I got upset is because
is NXT another thing or a team of people?
It was originally like the cruiserweight division, like what they were trying to do with that.
No,
but
it was all
developmental.
Yeah,
okay, because I know that's where they put most of the cruiserweights.
Like AAA ball, pretty much.
Yeah.
Is that what NXT is?
So it's development. It's smart. It's the way. It's what the ECW. So when you watch current new wrestling, it's so like they even said it. They said they've gone for more of a mainstream appeal. Like what got them there is completely like it's. I hate to say it. It's right. They were mainstream and didn't work. Right. Oh, it worked, but then they got challenged. Then they realized, okay, people want to see this edgier stuff, the raw stuff. So then they brought in the Edge, and everybody was captivated. Attitude Era, ECW stuff. Yes, it is a wrestler. Funny. Which I often can't tell the difference between Edge, Christian, and the Edge and Christian. I often can't tell the difference when they have long hair. Yeah. But yeah, so then they got the Edge. It was great. We loved seeing it. We loved the mayhem. We loved the carnage. I'm sure the wrestlers didn't love the mayhem and the carnage. Right. They had them in the documentary. They said they liked it because it was wild. Yeah. But I know their bodies probably didn't appreciate it.
And they also had creative freedom, unlike now.
But now, right. And then now that they're like, okay, they did the thing that I hate when everything becomes too mainstream, where they were cookie cutter. People hated it. Right. Mm-hmm. They're cookie cutter. People hated it. They got the Edge and became what people wanted to see. Then they got so big that they're like, cool, now we can go back to cookie cutter, and they were too big to fail now, because that's the problem I have with current wrestling with ECW. Like when you watch stuff like Mankind getting thrown, like when Undertaker, the greatest thing ever is like,
threw him out of fucking
right, and then Undertaker was literally when he said, I legitimately thought I killed him up there, and when you see me looking down at him to make sure he was moving, that was real. That wasn't an act. I literally was like, oh no, like, and then when he moved, I was like, okay, cool, we can keep going.
But how watching fucking Mankind jump into that dumpster and slam on somebody, I thought two things. First thing. Three things. So first thing, apparently, what a G. Second thing, I wonder if there's actually any like padding in there other than the human being he's jumping on.
But it wasn't.
And 3, what if he missed? Like, what if he just bounced his entire face off of the side of the dumpster?
That happened to Shane once.
You don't
That
care.
happened to Shane
Now,
once.
I was gonna say,
And then who was it? The Outlaws ran, like they took that dumpster and threw it off the stage. I'm like, there's people in there.
Yeah, Shane McMahon did that one time. He did that
Versus
jump
Kurt
off the
Angle.
top of he did that jump off the top of the cage, and Kurt Angle wasn't there.
Oh no! I was more talking about when he was like, they had like a breakthrough glass, and fucking, I guess they chose the wrong one. Kurt Angle chose the wrong one, and then Shane was like, "Fuck it." So Kurt Angle German suplex Shane McMahon through this glass that didn't break, and they were like, "What do we do?" And she was like, "Fucking throw me again." He's like, "What?" They throw me again. He threw him again, it didn't break. He threw it, was like, "Throw me again one more time." He's like, "All right," threw him again, and that's when the glass broke, and it was real glass, and everybody's like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, right.
And even me watching, I was like, "Holy fuck, let's
Incredible,
go!"
bro.
But like them talking back, like that fucking hurt.
Yeah.
Like that was
No,
not
and
supposed
that's
to
the part,
happen.
and that's the part that I respect the ever loving Christ out of all these people for.
Yeah.
It is absolutely insane. I don't care that you get jacked. I don't care if you're
That's why.
Arnold Schwarzenegger or the what was the principal's name of Billy Madison, who was like the tub of goo wrestler, and he accidentally.
Yeah, you got me, bro.
Oh
I haven't
my
seen
God.
Billy Madison in like
Bro, it's been
12
a
years.
million. I couldn't name
You
the
don't remember
characters.
the principal accidentally sat on somebody's head and suffocated him, and he was a wrestler. He was like the Blob or some shit.
Nope.
no, bro.
I'm
Okay.
sorry, we're letting you down.
So
I'm sorry.
I don't care if you
It's
look
almost
like
as if, like,
the
wrestling-
kid,
Can you look that up for
Jim, could you
X
look it
so
up?
he
the
wouldn't know?
kid from Up or Arnold Schwarzenegger jumping
Max
off
Anderson.
of buildings and shit?
Max
Mhm.
Anderson.
That has like you still have bones. How do they tell their bones? You don't break today, bones. Like, I'm going to do something that will break. Stone Cold should be dead, right? Like we all agree that I even knew before, and I didn't know it was coming. I didn't know like he got all fucked up or anything like that. But the minute his head was poking out like a fucking
Owen Hart power
baby
drived him.
turd, when that guy jumped up and he slammed his head into the ground, I'm like, well, I know Stone Cold's still alive, but I'm pretty sure he dies right here. Like, how did he not break his neck? It's like they tell their bones, not today, bones. And I don't understand. I don't know how you scout for that. I don't know how you go to a place and you're like, that person looks like their bones will break like that. They look like their bones will never break. They're in the WWE.
I mean, that's kind of what separates the wheat from the chaff, you know, like when you're watching some of these guys and you're like, there's no way, but that's the spectacle of
Auditions.
it. You know?
We're going to lawn dart you into the side of this trailer.
But
if you complain, you don't
You walk
get
in,
a wrestle.
You walk in and it's an immediate chair shot. Like this is like, wow.
You guys have to watch. If you guys didn't watch the original Tough Enough, they do like some of that stuff. Like they'd hit people with like kendo sticks and chairs and be like, "You want to be a wrestler,
That
right,
was the season
motherfucker?"
the Miz was on, right?
The Miz was on the
first
Real
one.
World.
No,
Well,
yeah, the Miz was on the
right,
Real World.
but- okay, I don't remember.
But
I
no,
know he
I'm
was
talking
on
about the
Tough Enough.
original Tough
Okay, I
Enough
know
when
he
it
was
was
on
like a
Tough Enough
reality show.
eventually, but
And
he
that's
was
actually
doing-
where we got like John Morrison and stuff was from Tough Enough and Maven. So, but yeah, definitely watch that. But back to the documentary. My favorite episode was the DX episode because DX was like solidified for me and probably a lot of people. Like I loved NWO, but DX was like DX full force with fucking, you know, Triple H and
X-Pac.
Shawn Michaels, X-Pac,
Yep.
Road Dogg, and fucking Mr. Ass, Billy Gunn. That was his name. If you didn't know, Xavier's name was Mr. Ass.
Whose name?
Billy Gunn. Mr. Ass. His name was.
Who's
He
Billy
had
Gunn?
lips on his butt.
Did you not watch the DX episode?
Was that the gold thing?
No, nigga. DX. Remember DX with Shawn Michaels and Hunter herself in China?
yeah.
And remember they added the two other people, Road Dogg and Billy Gunn?
Oh, the blonde hair guy?
Yeah, he was Mr. Ass.
That was his wrestling
That
name?
was his
Who's
yes.
the gold guy?
Gold guy?
Gold Dust?
Oh, Gold Dust?
He just kept kissing everyone.
Yeah.
Gold
He was very
Dust.
controversial for the time. Yeah. Great wrestler.
Yeah.
Like, great man.
Yeah.
Was his finishing move a kiss?
Oh, no, he kicked you in the balls, actually. Yeah. He'd run and just fucking knee you in the dick.
So why was he kissing people? No, okay, so
That was Dusty Rhodes, bro.
That was Dusty Rhodes' son, yeah.
huh?
That's crazy.
You
R.I.P.
just
Dusty
think
Rhodes.
you would just think with a fan base as like hyper masculine as what they had.
That was
Yeah,
a point.
that was
That
a
was a
point.
shock value.
Yeah. Which is not okay, by the way. Like, you know.
No,
He
we're
is
not.
wild.
We're not discussing. There's no point in discussing that. We automatically
I'm just
know.
letting everybody know
We
right now.
automatically know
You gotta
that we
say it
don't
out
give a
loud.
shit.
You
Oh,
gotta say it out loud.
I
Yeah.
think it's fine to kiss whoever you want to kiss.
There you
Yeah,
go.
and you can dress how you want to dress.
Hey, we ain't canceled. We ain't canceled today.
No, you can dress how you want to dress because it's America 2020. And if you want to wear a wig and wear tight stuff, it's totally okay because
No,
that's your choice.
That's okay. I'm just saying
Yeah.
some
I'm just letting everybody know. Now, say what you're gonna say.
Okay, so I just was confused how he was even allowed to do that shit. Like people were just like, "Oh yeah, the gold guy kisses people." And
did you not, nigga? They had the Godfather, who was an actual pimp.
I love that.
I love it.
With the hoe train.
With the hoe train.
And they're like, and then the king. What was that guy's name? They kept calling him the king.
Yeah, Jerry the
King Lawler. Like, can you imagine? It's somebody's job to go into the local area and line up that talent. Woo! And I was just like, and he's like, and he just kept saying puppies. And then that old lady, and they're like, nobody wants to see your puppies. Look at those basset hounds. And I was just like,
Mae Young.
I was like,
I'm dead, bro.
Somebody suplexed that old lady too.
Oh, bro. One of my favorite.
How did she not die?
Son, one of my favorite episodes was there was a time where the Dudley Boys, and I talk about this all the time. Dudley Boys were like, they were battling with, I think, TNA because Terry Reynolds was there. And like, you just feel over your head, Xavier, but just for everybody else that watches wrestling. Bubba Ray grabs Terry by the hair and like, yelling at her. And D-Bell's like, hey, what are you going to do? No, this is a younger lady.
Okay.
It's one of the chicks with the big fake tits. You'll see plenty of
any of them.
Yeah. Just imagine one of them. It looks just like that. Blonde, big fake tits. Yeah, exactly. We gotta talk about that. But my favorite episode, Devon, grabs this lady, and then Bubba's like, "What are you gonna do? Punch her?" And he was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Why would you punch her when you could put her through a table?" And they're like, "Yeah, good shit." And they deadass. They gave him a fucking bubble bomb from the top rope. And
so equality.
Exactly.
They were preaching equality.
No, yeah,
Got it.
absolutely. So yeah, D-Generation X was my favorite. I love that. My favorite, and it's funny because they talk about it in the episode when they got the fucking letter from TNT talking about you can't say this shit.
That was so
great,
fucking fantastic. And again, China didn't talk.
Yep. And then I like the fact that Vince like get in here, and he's like, oh shit, we finally done it. We've pushed the envelope too far. And I love that their whole shtick was that like, all right, yeah, we want to be degenerates. That's where the name came from, D-Generation X. Well, fuck it, we're gonna just do everything, all the shit that you think we shouldn't do, we're gonna do it, and then maybe even more than that. Like when he was putting the fucking Canadian flag in his nose and wiping his nose, and I'm like, when I saw that, I was like, oh my god, I can't believe he did that, because that is.
He said he loved Canada.
Yeah, I love the sarcasm. I love the meta between like that they had. Like they were obviously sarcastic assholes, and they knew that they were gonna pretend whatever. I loved it. But then for them to go back to do the TNT, they're like, hey, you can't do these things. Like, okay, I got you, motherfucker. And that's what's the great thing about having the creative freedom that the wrestlers don't have now, is they can say, hey, this would be really fucking funny. And Vince pretty much gave him like the fucking green light to do whatever you want. And you're going to piss me off, but I'm going to tell you that you pissed me off, but you do whatever you want. And they did that. And they go, throw me in the office. They fucking loved it. And I fucking lost it. Like, they loved it. I could not get enough. Like, I love it. I love the fact that they just would not stop pushing the envelope.
Another weird thing in the documentary that for me is, we talked about this earlier, is to see that Vince McMahon was a real person. It weirds me out.
It was so weird.
It's so hard to know. Ooh, oh no.
More drinking boys.
No, baby. But no, to see that. Sheesh. Okay. Yeah. So to see that Vince McMahon, like, even in his interview, this is why that wrestling is so impactful to the people who watch it, is that you could not tell me that. Vince McMahon didn't use a character name. He used his regular name. As far as my brain is able to comprehend, Vince McMahon is that guy,
Mr. McMahon, kind of.
Yeah, Mr. McMahon. Hitting people with the chain or wearing the chains around his neck, like, constantly trying to ruin his own wrestling, like something I never understood as a kid. I was like, but they're trying to do their wrestling, and you're the guy, you're the boss of wrestling. Why won't you want them wrestling? And my brain still can't fathom that, because like just him in those interviews, just talking like a regular person, I can't understand it. It's super weird. Like, I'm just like, man, he's actually like
a person.
Every
single wrestler was weird. Like in the interviews, like I'm like, why are you guys all talking weird? Like they have no emphasis to be like, yeah, it was just so crazy. Oh, right on. He's like, hey, everybody's like, yeah, it's just so crazy. Like, yeah, I was just so, as a fan, I'm like, stop. What are you doing?
Who was never somebody not who I expected?
Who?
Stone Cold. Every interview.
He's exactly.
Yeah, he was the exact same. He's
That's
like,
facts.
I was pretty much done with this bullshit. And then he just kept going. Also, watching him drive all of those like fucking beer trucks and then spray beer on everybody, I understand why every redneck on the face of the planet loves Stone Cold Steve Austin.
He was greatest. I mean, he lived
Without a
everybody
doubt.
their fucking fantasy.
And no, like, he lived my fan. Like, it was so cool, dude. It was so cool to just be like
drinking beers, running
and
monster trucks,
like a 11-year-old,
flipping off your boss.
Yeah, it's like a 12-year-old or something like that. I'm like, well, I don't have any concept of why this is cool.
But I just
know. I just know. Like, he was like, if you hit me right now, you got to go to jail. And he was like, huh. Wow. And he's like, here's going instantly to jail. I was like, yeah.
Let's go fuck that man.
Yeah.
Thanks for caring about me, Vince McMahon, but go fuck yourself.
Right. And I'm just like, I don't know why this is cool, but this is just it's a Texas rattlesnake.
It feels like, though, because you were talking about Vince McMahon being a person and all that shit. And I thought the same thing, because it wasn't just the interviews. It was, you saw his brain switch. And I thought, like, growing up, the little that I watched wrestling and the little that I did all that shit, it was always like, Vince McMahon's a dick, he's a piece of shit, you know, all this other stuff. But it's almost like Bischoff really made the McMahon that we have now. Like, if he hadn't done the things that he had done, I don't think McMahon would have, because he kept talking about, well, that's dirty and that's this. And he was so, like, obviously with him not here today, you know, we couldn't get a contract signed, but, you know, Macho Man, you've been great. We've loved you. We really hope that you get everything you want to get in the future. Thank you for everything that you did for us. And then you see Vince McMahon now, who's like, I hope your family dies and you're a piece of shit.
You
And
don't
I
give a
hope,
fuck. Yeah.
I hope you burn in a fire and like all this other shit. And it almost feels like, because Bischoff decided to start playing dirty,
Yeah. It changed his mindset.
it really changed his mindset. And you saw that happen when he started making those fucking little videos with like exaggerated gap Ted Turner and then like Hulk Hogan, and he's like, oh, I'm gonna get you, brother, and he just like walks away with his fucking walker and everything. So I thought that was one of the most interesting takeaways from me, is that McMahon turned off the old kind of like ethical wrestling brain that he had for so long and said, fuck it, if people want to get dead, we're gonna fucking figure it out.
Well, I will say, like, all the things that Eric Bischoff was doing, like this, and I love that he was just like, yeah, was it like ethical or right, whatever? Like, no, but like, fuck it, it's business. And I just loved. He was like, I'm trying to fucking do the best. He's like, I'm trying to have the best wrestling on the planet. I don't care what it takes. If it means I have to do under the table deals, which I don't even know how he didn't get hit with tampering, like contract tampering. It's super weird.
Who's gonna? No. Who's gonna hit him with the tampering charges?
WWE. Hit him with the tampering. He was negotiating while they were under contract. You can't do that.
You can't. Hold on.
You only know
The
that if their
NBA
contract says you can't negotiate while under contract.
Right.
No, that's literally. Is that not contract tampering? Like, you just,
No.
Oh, you have to have that in the contract too. The tampering.
Yeah,
Wow, that's
you
crazy.
have to have it in there that you're not allowed to talk to people while under
Right, they
contract.
probably
Because,
have that now.
Yeah, they definitely do now.
because otherwise, all that says is
That's what I was saying. Like, there's no NFLPA, or sorry,
Right.
there's no WWPA.
Right. Well, it's really funny that you say that, because they even said, like, how fucking Bush League is this to know that, like, our top superstar, we had no idea when the fucking contract was up. Like, all of a sudden they showed up like Lex Luger. They're like, how the fuck he just show up in Mall of America? Like, how do we not know that his contract was up?
By the way,
They should know.
that was dope as fuck. Not the Lex Luger thing. I don't care about that. Being in the mall was so cool.
It was really dope. No, and it's funny.
And they started talking shit. Someone's like, it's a mall. It's kind of corny. I'm like, no, that's really fucking dope.
Yeah.
If you want to get to be where isn't okay. No, never mind.
But I will say, like, they did a lot of cool stuff. Like, just looking back at it as a fan now, looking at the Nitro set, I'm just like, it brought me so much nostalgia. Like, man, to me, it still looks cool.
I didn't realize that they went to different towns all the time. So like, we'll see tickets roll through for like wrestling and shit.
You thought they just like had like a studio?
Yeah.
You mean you didn't know they traveled? Like,
Other than for like WrestleMania and stuff, no.
oh my god.
Why would they? They could
Well,
accomplish
you
the
gotta
same thing in the same
So you
spot.
gotta remember beforehand, before like it became so mainstream, it was word of mouth. Like
Yeah.
it was regional.
It made
was,
it made sense when I started watching, and I'm just saying these are things that, from an outside perspective, you don't ever really think about.
That's fair. You
Yeah.
know what?
Do
Yeah.
they still do that? Do they do that now? Like they travel?
Yes.
I know
do.
they'll roll through Indy sometimes, but it
Yeah.
always seems like it's an event based
Right.
thing, not a.
Sunday here.
No, they do house shows and stuff
So,
like that. Well,
yeah.
right. So
It just feels like there's a purpose. Like it's like Rage in the Cage still a thing?
No, it's not.
I know those words though.
Yeah.
But is Hell in a Cell a thing?
Yeah.
That sounds basically
is.
like Rage in a Cage.
it's not the
It's
same.
not the same. You get sued, dog.
Is
Patent pending.
Is it a cage with fire around it for Hell in a Cell?
Nope.
No.
Oh. Either way, we get what I'm saying. It always just seemed like there was a special event is why they traveled. I didn't realize like week to week they were going to different towns to do different things. I thought that was kind of
And that's what I want to emphasize. So they did have like a central location. They talked about the one in Disney.
the Disney.
Yeah. So there were some episodes
These
they
people
had.
make movies and they called the cops on us.
Yeah. Oh, it was so great. It was so great. I love that. But they would have their base and they would go travel eventually. And then eventually they were traveling every week and they were on the road all the time. So right now.
I don't know if I like talk shows. Like I feel like it's a talk show, right? Like Jerry Springer.
You think that wrestling is a talk show? I'll slap the shit out of you right now.
No. But I'm saying they always film in the same location and people get tickets and they go there and they do that. I just don't understand. Maybe they just weren't as big then as they are now. So I'm just not thinking about it in the same terms of feasibility kind of thing. Like I guess I just don't see it as a sporting event.
No, it's
maybe
all good.
That's it.
So if you noticed on Raw when they were doing the thing at the MSG, like when they were doing like the Raw is War thing with the wheel, right? That was one in one area. And like some weeks they were talking about, some weeks would be live, some weeks wouldn't be live, but it was always in that same central location.
Why didn't they go with WCW being live every Monday? Which, by the way, them telling the results of the tape
I was gonna say that. Yeah,
was so good. That's my favorite. That was my favorite part of everything I watched. He goes, "Hey, we've got an idea. That idea is we know the outcome, so we're going to tell you what it is in the first 5 minutes, so you stop flipping channels because you officially don't care." That was the coldest thing ever, and I loved every bit of that. I'm like, that is a spicy ass businessman.
Yeah, no, everything he did was just cutthroat. Like, hey, you don't give them no 2 weeks notice, just fucking show up. Hey, you have that title, bring that shit in, you throw in the fucking trash.
She was very bad at like talking on camera.
Well, yeah, you know,
Alundra Blaze.
She's right.
She trash.
But that's not what her job was. Her job was just to look good.
She was actually a wrestler. Like she actually wrestled.
I guess compared to the divas, the women of today.
Yeah, like, I mean, she was still like for her time, like she did a pretty decent job. Like she actually wrestled. Like she's not like she's definitely not like fucking like Terry Reynolds or like, fucking Ivory. Right. You know, Ivory wrestled too. Jacqueline definitely. I mean, she wrestled too. Yeah.
Oh my god, Jacqueline.
I also want to say, like, why was there only one black chick? Like, I wish they'd have. I mean, listen,
because
was it Mia?
They knew their audience. No, it was Jacqueline back in the day.
Oh
yeah,
I know who Paige is.
Yeah,
she was on the cover of a WWE game.
Is that why you know Paige? Is not because she was in a porn? Because
no,
I didn't know that.
You lying ass.
China was in porn.
I mean, she wasn't in a porn. Like
she
her,
was
like,
She-Hulk in a porn.
No, she was just her.
No, man. China was actually, there's a porn out there where she's She-Hulk.
Man, I don't know what I'm doing.
Oh, I was like, are you arguing? I was like, Jamie, will you look that up real quick? Please. China She-Hulk.
Oh, man. This is crazy.
That's real. I don't know.
Yeah, no,
I don't know who Paige is. I know the name Paige.
Yeah. But yeah, it's unfortunate. Like she had her nudes leaked and she had like her videos leaked. It was really actually real tragic. So that's why I thought that's what you're talking about. Like,
but is she still out there diva-ing?
I mean, she actually, unfortunately, she got thrown into like a turnbuckle by like, I think Nia Jax and fucked her neck up and she retired.
That's the plot of $1 Million Baby.
No, Nia Jax has injured every single bitch. Like she has injured not Ric Flair, sorry. Charlotte Flair.
Who's the chick that Nia Jax threw into the turnbuckle?
Yeah.
Nia Jax.
She's a wrestler.
She's a wrestler.
She's fucking sexy too. I fuck with her. I fuck with her heavy.
They just outlawed that. You see all that? The turnbuckle.
Yeah.
This is the outlaw Nia Jax. I'm like, that's fair.
It's about time they need to outlaw the fucking buckle bomb.
Seth Rollins' big move.
But
I know that
Nia Jax is also real fine. Shout out Nia Jax.
Yeah, for real, bro. Listen, Nia Jax. All the hate that you get for like, you know, being a bigger chick, whatever. Like she actually did like a whole thing, like people were like body shaming her, or whatever. Because she's a bigger chick, but like she is so pretty. She is so fucking pretty, and to me, she's bad as fuck. So like, listen, if you're having issues like finding like somebody, like yo, I am available like today. Like I am not playing. Smother me with your fucking thighs, bitch. I'm not playing. Like I need that yesterday. So
this is gonna be some real it doesn't have anything to do with the situation. Nia Jax is regular sized.
No, yeah, she's like what's like fucking 5'8". Like she's not even like
5'8" is tall for a lady.
That's regular, bro. That's
no, it's not person. The average.
That's fair.
The average height for a woman is like 5'4".
Well, the problem is that you see her in WWE, she's like massive because everyone's huge, like fucking 5'1".
She'd just be a regular. So that's what I mean. I don't mean like
he was just showing me.
Like what I'm saying is like you see her in real life.
She looks like one of those people who's like farm boy strong. Like they don't have a lot of tone, but you know they're gonna fuck you up.
What are you talking about?
Every episode is just spicy.
Listen, like
nothing I said was negative. She's not super like. She's not like
I don't
You
give a
saw
fuck,
like
bro.
China?
I need to beat my dick. I don't
China
know farm, whatever.
literally-
All that farm strength, I need it around my cock.
You
It's
look
whatever.
at China, you know she's benching
Yeah,
like
she fine.
940.
Well,
She
you know,
fine, bro.
China was also like
Look at that.
jacked.
She fine, bro.
Like she was a
I'm not
security
saying
guard.
she's not. I'm just saying she's
She
not
got the
like she doesn't
pythons.
have like.
You just say she looked like a farmer.
Yeah,
No.
she's farm boy strong. She lift a barrel of hay. Like what the fuck?
No, I'm just saying she doesn't look like super like
Thanks.
lean muscle, but you know
That's
she's
good,
strong
bro.
by looking at her. You guys are talking about how strong she was. You do this every fucking episode.
What are you
No
talking
matter
about?
what I say, it gets turned into some really
Well,
weird
you need
fucking
to stop
comment.
saying the things that you're saying because they're really
Right?
fucking
Like,
offensive
But
To who?
to big people.
I just told her she's strong. To big people, I didn't
Yeah.
say she's big.
You did. You farm boy
I
strong.
heard
What is
it.
that?
I heard it. I heard
That's
it.
how I interpreted
I've
it.
never seen a skinny boy who's farmer strong.
Yeah.
I don't know.
She said you even call
Y'all-
her broad shoulder and everything. Like what?
Oh, what? I didn't
That's
hear
bone
that.
structure though. That's not like.
oh, you right.
Bone.
But
Shout-
yeah,
shout
nah,
out
but again,
Nine
nah,
Jacks.
Jacks, hey, you know,
Yeah, slide in the DMs. I'm not playing.
I said no negative
What were we
things.
talking
You know, I
about?
fuck with it. I fuck with it heavy. We're talking about the women, and we talk about the buckle bomb that messed up
Oh
Paige.
yeah, but no, but we were originally talking about
Alundra Blaze
No, before that we were talking about Bischoff.
having the balls of fucking Saturn.
Yeah, but no. So the revealing the
I'm still not saying what you want me to say.
revealing the results at the end of the beginning of the show. The
Balls.
wildest part is that even I'm like, man, that's not
Yeesh.
okay.
Yeah.
But I'm like, what a power move! Like what a Chad Alpha! Like
Yeah.
what a move right there.
And he said it. They're
but
paying me to be the
then-
best
but
wrestling fucking promotion. I'm gonna do whatever it takes.
The cool thing that I do kind of like though, because I am a stickler for I hate seeing people do things without any sort of consequences. That Mankind thing that happened was we're gonna reveal the results of the show, and then everybody's like, "Ooh, I want to see that," and then they turned in to watch it. And he's like, "Dang, that didn't happen like I thought it was gonna happen." But not everything is a dub, and I was like, "But you know what? You still went out. He still was like this." That's I think honestly, I think it's gonna sound weird. That's why I said I wish I knew more of love of beyond the documentary of if Bischoff had a lot of this the what his actual power is in the organization, because I feel like with a man who has that much savvy and that much like he rolls with he's very he is reactive, but the way he reacts is ruthless. Like there's no way a guy with that sort of initiative or thought or process would run the WCW in the way that they did. Like the Turner is like, hey, just take all their old people or take all their newest people. Don't worry about your younger people. We'll just throw money at it. We won't develop our own talent. And we'll just constantly be on the defensive the entire time. There's no way.
Well, you got to think about too. Like he had
The best offense is a good defense.
With defense wins
Some good
championships, but you still have to score.
Yeah, I mean,
Like
he technically
the
scored.
Like
Yeah, they won.
For
In fact,
83 months.
that is
83
crazy.
weeks.
That is
Yeah.
83 weeks. But,
Oh,
no,
yeah.
but yeah. But
Yeah.
that's insane. Imagine
83 months is like 6 years.
But you
dude.
know what? Something that's good that happened. If you look at those numbers, after a while there, they were battling. They're still battling, but they were battling for like 9 and 10 million. That's that. Like you said
You're
earlier.
telling me that it gets up to 20 million people are watching wrestling.
Oh no, it's like sorry, no. Because remember at the beginning
Combined.
it was 2.9.
It was
versus
2.9
like
and they got to like the 4s.
yeah, 4s
Yeah.
and 5s and 6s.
Yeah.
Oh, you're
for a
saying
while.
total
What I'm
number.
saying
Yeah,
is like
total number.
like what you said earlier was like Bischoff may have been a necessary evil for the WWE, and how I was saying the ECW was also right. How the ECW also needed to exist. That's exactly what shows you right there, because this was later. It was like 2004 or 2000 like 3 or 4.
Well,
2003.
WCW was
Yeah.
2001, I thought. He said they were gone in 2001.
That's when the invasion. Oh yeah, so like 2001, 2002, when everything started waning, they still had good ratings.
Yeah.
They just
But they still killed it for a little bit.
yeah, they just were like we can't win, like, you
Yeah.
know. But the numbers had overall grown. Like that
Yeah.
was what was good for the entirety of wrestling that this war happened.
It doubled. Yeah, it literally doubled the
The
amount of
viewership.
people watching it,
Mhm.
which was insane to me that they were able to find a new market.
Mhm.
Not that they were able to split the market, which is what originally Bischoff was trying to do, was by taking away viewers from WWE. They actually found a market where you had predominantly WCW and then WWE fans, and then you had some of those crossover people. And it's interesting to me because it's very, very hard in almost any kind of fandom at all to generate
New customers. That's
not just
any business too,
right, but not just new customers. They more than doubled.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, they started showing more of the tit. So that's what
double degeneration.
But even though WWE showed more of the tit, WCW still had like 4.5 million people
That's
watching.
What I'm saying. That's crazy because not only did they
for Viagra matches or whatever the fuck,
they were battling for half of double the initial audience. That's crazy. Like, which also kind of makes me think like I maybe I missed something because like how did they go under with double the amount of audience?
Well, they didn't have any money. So they'll talk about.
Okay. Well, they brought that up that eventually they.
Because I know the same thing.
I even saw that they said we're not giving
ECW
blank checks anymore because you go from making $80 million to not making or to losing $80 million.
That's what that's what ECW said they had the problem with, but they grew so fast that they were like, well, we're giving contracts just to keep people, from doing things, and we're making way more money than we've ever made, but we're doing it by spending way more. So I guess that's true. But like, it is crazy to think about that. It was basically a race to see who bleeds out first. Like, that's interesting to think about. Business is wild.
And Vince McMahon was like, I got it. I'm fine.
But
you do your shit.
It's
I'll be
weird
cool.
to think about because I would have to think that the Turner Broadcasting Company
had more money.
It's
more
they
because
stopped wanting to invest the money into it because they said they were becoming smarter with how they allocated funds. And you go from one of the first clips where he has obviously the like TNT, TBS, but then he only had like Cartoon Network and 2 other things. And then you see him when they're talking about, they're becoming smarter with how they spend their money. They had fucking WB, they had like 9 or 10 more properties on the screen of what Turner actually owned. And at that point, you can't just dump all that money into it. And if people are already complaining like it's the same thing or it's just violence for the sake of violence, why dump money in primetime spots when you already are losing the battle? Because at that point, they had already lost. They had already lost the win in the viewership. They were back to battling it out. So if I were them and I'm just like, hey, it's inevitable, we could spend another 3-4 years fighting this battle, but you didn't react when WWE started using the divas and when WWE started having, they still use characters, but they also don't have the same group of thugs pretty much running through and beating the shit out of the same people week after week, and they're getting new people. You didn't react. You thought, oh, they can't touch us. They can't touch us. And they did. So if it was me, I would have not put money into it either. And at the end of the day, what loss is it to them?
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, you have to make the thing too, when you start noticing that this was very much a passion project for Turner. Like, he was just like, I love wrestling and I want to beat Vince. So it was like, so that's when he had like the whole like blank check. He's like, I just want to have a good wrestling show and also want to beat Vince McMahon. I don't want to beat him.
Is he dead?
Yes, he is.
When did he die?
I have no idea. Jamie, can you pull that up?
When did Ted Turner die? There's a Robot Chicken skit of Ted Turner as Captain Planet, and it is.
I don't think Ted Turner's dead.
No, he's dead, bro.
Oh, he's dead.
Is he?
Yeah.
Jamie?
Yeah, he's dead. Wow. Really, that 2G that you got over there, bro, is awful, man. Awful. So we have to invest in better technology here in the podcast.
Pay for our OnlyFans and we'll get you better quality content by having shit
Ted Turner
that
owns
works.
Ted's Montana Grill? Wow.
Does he really?
I did not know that was the same Ted.
Wow.
Huh.
Interesting. The things you learn, really.
Interesting.
Like, honestly.
But again, that Robot Chicken skit is pretty good. It's my second favorite next to these 2 adults on a teeter totter.
I don't think Ted Turner is dead.
No, I think he's dead, bro.
I'm pretty sure he's dead.
Nothing on here says he's dead.
Did you type in Ted Turner dead?
I'm looking at his Wikipedia page and it just says born.
Yeah.
Age 81.
When was he born?
He's 81. He's not dead. He's just 81 years old.
He's just chilling in the background
got
somewhere?
so much money. He's got so much money. He told all the media outlets not to report his death.
Once you reach a certain age, you can pay for baby's hearts to be squeezed
2.1 bill
like orange juice and
that's the same amount Michael Jordan is worth.
Wow, Ted Turner out here banging fucking dollars.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He got hella money, so he can afford the babies. You have to compress.
Jamie says
to
since
extend his lifespan.
Hold on, Jamie says that since Michael Jordan is black, his fortune is worth twice Ted Turner's.
That makes sense.
Which means he's worth almost the same amount as all of wrestling.
Well, almost, but that still doesn't prove your point. 4.3 billion is still not 5.1. But yes.
Ooh, eat that dick.
All black money, double money.
Let's go.
Not in like real sense. I can't go up to like the store and say, "Hey, here my dollar." Like,
I would be asking you guys to do all my shopping. I'd be like, "Hey, I'm gonna give you $100, but I need this thing that's $180." You'd be like, "All right, bet, guys, I got you."
The matches get real wild when you go to a store. Like, somebody hit you a $5 and you gotta do back. You're like,
that's what it's like being in DR, bro. They'll take dollars in DR, but they have to be like $1 is like 35 pesos. So here's $1, but I want like a Coke, and be like, "Oh, damn, I got
a whole scale on the side. I just had
Amendment 28. After everything is said and done, we get a ratified amendment. Black money is worth twice as much.
Like you put your arm on the scale. No,
I'm sorry.
You scan the color of your skin to see how much your money's worth.
That's what Jamie just said. Is like they got a skin tone scale on the side for the exchange rate. So you go like,
dang.
Does that mean my money is worth less or just worth what the going rate is?
It's worth the regular amount of money.
Yeah. You don't get the multiplier.
What if I throw my tattoo on there?
No,
you still. They
still see that you're very much Caucasian,
right?
But there's a lot of black in that tattoo.
But you are still Caucasian.
They'd be like, "Oh my god, he gets
black
like
people
3
aren't
times."
Actually black. I don't know if you've never noticed, bro.
This guy,
I'm
telling you, it's just it's the thing that comes out of X's mouth.
Thank you, Jamie.
And that's why their money is worth the most on this scale.
Y'all ever seen Wesley Snipes?
The 4-time multiplier.
Like it's like light skin.
Lenny, you got a 1.2 multiplier at best.
It's still a multiplier. It's still a multiplier.
It's still a multiplier. You and Jamie's multiplier is probably the same.
That's a quality right there.
No, he lighter than me.
What are you talking about, bro? Look at me. I'm a beautiful mocha.
Use the top of your arm, and he uses the bottom of his arm. Y'all the same.
Cream than you than I do. Way more cream.
Way more. What are you trying to say? You not mocha? I think you more like a when you put a little bit too much milk in your coffee. Like you got
way much.
No, you got way more milk than I do.
I'm the inside of a Heath bar.
Inside of a Heath bar? What are even Heath bars, bro? I'll be honest.
The most delicious thing in history.
No.
They suck to eat. They're tasty, but they suck to eat.
What is a Heath? Can you explain that to me? Like, what is it?
A Heath bar? It's like toffee.
You bite it and it just make you work for it.
I don't like that. It sounds like what is that?
You know what else is really good? Bit of honey. Do you realize how hard it is to eat a bit of honey?
Eat a bit of honey. Like it's so
I love that shit. And then like 3 days later, I'm like, I still got bit of honey in my teeth.
That's a sucking candy. I don't like saying that out loud.
Nigga love sucking honey.
Those are old people. Like Werther's Originals. Shout out to Werther's Originals. Sucking candies, pocket candies, whatever you want to call them. Old people candies.
This is what our generation.
Reasons gang. Raisin. R-I-E-S-E-N.
Raisinette.
R-E. Jamie, could you check on that for me?
This is why our generation have the most skills when it comes to the mouth work because we had all the mouth. Yeah, we had all the suck candies.
What'd you do as a kid? I sucked a lot, and people be like, "Why?" And you're like,
all of our grandparents always had them shits in the pocket.
My grandma quit smoking by having fucking hot chocolate lollipops.
Oh wow, hot chocolate lollipops.
Sucking candy was my point. She just sucked on it all the time.
Yikes!
Dang, is it really?
Shout out grandmas.
Wow, what a weird world.
Use your phone then, Jamie. You got another device. Damn.
Jesus.
R-E-I-S-E. No.
All right, so
is that Riesling? Did you look up Riesling like the wine?
No, Raisin like the candy. Raisin.
So one of the things that looking back at the Attitude Era. Oh, hold on.
S-E-N.
Okay, yeah, so it is right. Yeah,
I don't know what those are.
What?
I feel like I can see the logo in my head, but I'm not sure.
You ain't never heard about dollar store candy.
No. I said I can see it in my head, but I don't know if I ever ate a black dollar store candy.
Go ahead.
Well, why not? What's wrong with the black one?
Well, apparently it's at the Black Dollar store, and I don't know where that is. So.
Wow.
So you just avoided it is what you're saying?
You know what my favorite thing was? At the Dollar Tree over by Lafayette Road, they had fucking 3 liters of soda. It cracked my shit up. It was the most disgusting shit ever, but they didn't sell 2 liters. They sold 3 liters.
And they also cost the exact same as 2 liters.
They did cost the exact same.
It's unfathomable to me that a 20 ounce, I know this has nothing to do with anything, but you're like, I'm going to get a 20 ounce Sprite.
Convenience cost.
$1.90. And you're like, cool. And then it's like, let me get that 2 liter. It's like $1. And I'm like, oh, see,
no. It's because it's not even that. You get a cold beverage, so you're paying for the refrigeration. You're paying for the fact that you can put it in a cup holder. Everything. It's like when you order a half pint of beer, it costs more than if you also got a full pint of beer because you get the asshole tax for buying something smaller.
I mean, it's fair. I just don't understand I don't like the logistics.
There it is. You said you didn't understand. Right. I was trying to help you understand.
I don't like the logistics behind. If I want more, it costs less. I'm like, that don't make what I want.
Because Stone Cold said so.
That's fair.
That's literally the law. That's literally the law.
Yeah.
That's
so
it.
continue.
Austin 317.
Oh. That's not.
316 is the
copyright.
whooping ass thing. 317 is nothing. 317 is this new law that says convenience cost extra,
more.
bitch. Some bitch. That's the bottom line.
Some bitch, bro. Every time you say I was angry into some bitch, I was like, oh, yes.
My wife set my coffee down or my tea down and she goes, "You want to drink it before it gets stone cold? That's your name." And I was like, damn.
That's it.
Stone Cold's wife is fucking OG as shit,
Yeah,
bro.
Deborah was the shit, bro. I missed that. Yeah, she was. Like when she was on the
Is
show.
she dead too?
No, when she was on the show. No, I think she's
I'm like,
still
how many
alive.
people I keep talking about are dead because I keep getting yelled at?
Yeah, no, there's actually a lot of wrestlers that are dead. So
Do you know why? Because their
Well,
bones may not have broken, but their organs turned to soup. You can't
or all the fucking steroids,
soupy
All the
organs.
CTE and the steroids mixed together. That's a terrible concoction.
I can't wait for you to see one of my favorite wrestlers that isn't really that great is Buff Bagwell, only because his catchphrase was "Buff's the stuff." That alone, I was like, fuck, I love Buff Bagwell so much. He had the stupid hat. Jamie, can you bring up a picture of Buff Bagwell wearing a hat, please? He had this stupid top hat. Just so
Top hat.
no,
I
it's so
love
great.
seeing Triple H's original character. He's like, indubitably.
Oh yeah, I love the just super fucking high class fucking
Hunter Heritage Hart Smith the third or whatever.
Hunter Hearst Helmsley.
Huh?
Hunter Hearst Helmsley. Yeah, and I love that he lives it. They still call him Hunter. Yeah, Hunter.
What's his real name?
Paul Levesque.
Triple?
That's wild. I
Yeah,
know
Paul
that,
Levesque.
but you
His
couldn't
name's
tell
Paul
me that.
Levesque?
Yeah, but
Yeah,
you couldn't
it's
tell me
Paul
that. It's
Levesque.
Hunter. Hunter is his name.
Yeah, everybody calls him Hunter. Everybody. Yeah, I love the
Hunter is
DMX.
his name. You couldn't tell me that.
It's like
You
Shawn
couldn't-
Michaels. His
He's got a
name's not
sneaky
Shawn Michaels.
nose too. Like
Damn,
it's
Shawn
it
Michaels'
doesn't-
name isn't Shawn Michaels.
No, it's not. I think it's like
Is it Bret Hart?
no, it's not.
What?
Bret Hart. I love Bret Hart so much. You see Buff's the stuff. There he is. Buff
That's
Bagwell.
the best,
He
bro.
looks like he would have been on VH1's The Pickup Artist.
He was in VH1 because he was actually
Michael Sean Hickenbottom.
Michael Hickenbottom is Shawn
Michael
Michaels.
Hickenbottom.
Hickenbottom.
Yo, how lucky is fucking Kevin Nash and Scott Hall that their names are fucking dope? Because they used to, he was Razor and Big Daddy Cool Diesel, and they were like, we're gonna give you your fucking real names, and luckily enough,
It's Kevin Nash.
Yeah.
He's got all.
Luckily
Please tell
enough.
me Steve Austin's name is really Steve Austin.
Hold on.
Oh, I don't think so, bro.
If it's not, don't tell me.
No, you gotta fucking tell him crush his dreams. Wow, D Mark's actually now Jamie for whatever reason.
Jonathan Tyronesburg. No, it's Steve Austin.
Oh, I was like, please, Jonathan Tyronesburg. Not only is that unexpected, I need a lot more information about his entire family. If his name is
No, his name is actually Steve Austin. Which
My
honestly
name is
isn't a
Steve.
badass
I
name.
was born
He
in
made
Austin.
it badass.
Yeah,
it's
putting the Stone Cold
Yeah,
on it.
Stone Cold was
The
the
Stone
part that was
Cold, yeah.
badass. Like Steve Austin's just a Reggie name. But
Reggie
like
as fuck.
Stone
Is
Cold.
it though? I mean, I guess it is.
Yes, right. It's
is he
like,
from Austin,
it's not
Texas?
Kevin
Because I
Nash.
know
super
he's
Texas. Yeah, he's super Texas.
no, I know
It's
he's
super
from
Texas.
Texas, but is he from
Texas.
Austin?
Yes, Austin, Texas.
You-
You think he owns Austin? Is that what you're
No,
about to
not owns
ask?
Austin. I think
His
it's hilarious
forefathers. I mean,
that his
his
last name is the
great-grandfather.
place that he's from. It's like Robin of Locksley.
Steve from Austin.
Steve of Austin.
His real name,
There it
What?
is.
Hold on.
There it is. There it is.
No, Jamie, you about to be fired.
Stephen
Okay.
James Anderson.
Oh man.
So the Austin is because he's from Texas.
Austin. Okay. Wow.
If he's not from Austin.
He is from Austin, Texas.
Okay,
Yep.
he is from Austin, Texas.
Yep.
So
His
it's
real name is Stephen Anderson.
Yeah,
You just
I thought so.
crushed every dream I had of Stephen of Austin.
I love
Did
it.
you know he's a sexy boy?
no. But honestly,
He's a
not
sexy boy?
That's Shawn Michaels.
He used to be sexy before he cut his hair off.
He is not a sexy boy. If anything, he's stunning, but not sexy.
stunning Steve Austin.
Hey.
Who the fuck told him I was from Hollywood, California?
that's the best.
I got a
That's
Texas
like a
accent
Texas
from
accent.
Hollywood.
My favorite wrestler still to this day. I say that, but it's Scott Hall. Scott Hall is definitely my
Oh
favorite.
yeah.
Current wrestler.
My favorite current wrestler. Oh
The,
shit!
the fake Latin
The
guy was your
Velveteen
favorite?
Dream?
No, I think probably my favorite current wrestler is probably Okada from New Japan.
Bro.
Like his entrance. Like listen, his entrance at Wrestle
Dave
Kingdom.
Batista.
Dave Batista. Listen, Dave Batista to me was
He has a
like the
Randy
most
Orton.
overrated.
He's just saying stuff.
Said Okada.
Okada. He is. Yeah, he's the shit.
No, bro. Okada's
Can I
on
ask
that
you guys a question that I really thought about while I was watching this?
No.
You watch Okay.
Dang, Okada's only 2 years older than me.
Yeah, no, yeah, bro.
Dang.
Okada, yeah, oh man, I love fucking Okada so much. I wasn't even gonna try to say his name. Kazuchika.
How we would say it would be Kazuchika.
Kazuchika.
But that's because we're terrible Americans. I think it's Kazuchika.
Yeah, it's Kazuchika
Okada. Kazuchika Okada.
I was you noticed I was going to try to say his name.
Right, but you said Okada.
Yeah, I was like, I ain't gonna try.
For dirty Americans, it's Kazuchika
I was gonna try
Okada because we don't care how you pronounce it. In our country, we pronounce your name how we want to pronounce it.
Yeah, like just like we called the Indians.
Yeesh, I don't want to get into that. We gonna get canceled.
No. What you should have said is how we called the Native Americans Indians. You said, did you see how we called the Indians by their name? That's what you did.
I didn't mean that.
Hey, we must be in India because that's where we were trying to go. Yeah. That must make you an Indian.
And listen, it's so infuriating because it stuck. When I was a kid, they didn't even call the Native Americans
spices.
When
I was told you would have spices. What is this baby corn you keep trying to show me?
Oh my god. Also, I love that all the old wrestlers, like you really think like how fucking like not okay a lot of those fucking gimmicks were.
Terrible.
Like the rednecks.
That's why I was saying watch Glow though, like for real, because it shows Glow's. It is great, but they show a lot of those things, how they stereotype the fuck out of people.
Well,
like,
we all know this as wrestling fans. Like,
I know, but it's just really interesting.
Yeah.
Again, it's nice audience out there to have perspective. If you don't watch something, you don't have to be treated like shit because you didn't understand it when you walked into something.
Who's treating you like shit? What are you implying here? You not treat you fairly?
I wasn't implying anything.
You're
I
kind of implying.
Said.
Well, what are you saying? I don't understand.
Snarky ass comment. Well, we get that by people who've watched wrestling.
Oh yeah, well,
snarky.
I just wanted to point that out. Like we understand that we have a troubled past, just like Jimmy Snuka. Fucking. Oh, speaking of Jimmy Snuka, not even Jimmy Snuka. I want to talk about Rikishi.
Superfly?
No, I don't want to talk about Superfly. Rikishi, and like the first episode they showed Rikishi.
The only thing I saw Rikishi was getting.
Ass looks like what he said.
No, that was Yokozuna.
Oh, that was Yokozuna. Yeah.
Talking about how wide his ass was.
What was like an opera hall of an ass or something?
Yeah, he's man.
Amphitheater.
Amphitheater.
He's got an ass like an amphitheater. Although I think we should bring that back as a compliment to people. Like instead of being like she's thick or like he's thick, just be like you got an ass. You see her? She's got an ass like an amphitheater.
I could do a whole play in that booty.
I wonder what them acoustic like. Come here, girl. Let me see.
Let me talk to her. Let me clap that shit. Hey, shout out amphitheater.
Shout out amphitheater booty bitches. Oh fuck. Oh no, Rikishi. When they showed Rikishi when he first joined the WWE, I'm like, man, looks just like fucking Jey Uso. And then I remembered immediately that's their fucking father.
They all are.
Nigga.
I'm gonna say something real unpopular.
What?
Everybody related. All the Samoans are all related.
Well, they come from the same family, yeah.
I mean, that's wild.
Yeah. So The Rock is related to all of them?
He's related to
every single Samoan.
Rikishi.
All of them.
So you have the two. It's crazy.
Samoan is Hawaiian.
Yeah. So you have the Wild Samoans. They're the original two. And then from there, they branched off to like Rocky, which is his pops, and then some other people like the Head Shrinkers and whatever. And then from there, you have The Rock, and then you have Jimmy and Jey Uso. You have Roman Reigns. You have Nia Jax. You also have, I think you also have some people in New Japan. They might also be part of like that family, but I don't want to misspeak. But yeah, it's interesting. Like their family is responsible for all these stars. They're like the generational stuff. Like so now we have like Randy Orton and we had the Von Erichs back in the day and stuff like that.
Has Randy Orton done something other than wrestling, or do I know his name because of wrestling? Was he on the cover of a game?
He was a really big meme for a while.
He was on the cover of a game, right? He got the tattoos
or something like that. Yeah.
Jump off.
Yeah, the RKO was
the
best
meme.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's the best thing ever. When people just randomly RKO somebody into the water.
Yep.
Ah, great.
You guys want to talk about anything else?
No, man. This is you. Hey, are you done?
This was yo shit, and I watched as much as I could when I fucked up.
I didn't speak about any current WWE. I don't know if that's something.
Oh no, because we were talking about the show, but so as far as current WWE stuff, that would be something I'm completely unqualified
CM
for.
Punk.
Oh man, my nigga Chick Magnet Punk, I fuck with him.
And real quick though, and you weren't there. which just rolls back into everything we always talk about. You were absent from something.
Yep. I'm like everybody's pops.
So,
I mean, my dad.
nobody except you. You mean your pops? Because we all got ours. We see him. I saw mine today. He came over to try to help me install a ceiling fan.
Good childhoods and shit. With your fucking present parents and shit. Fuck yeah.
Reminisced about all
So
the
this is the only thing I wanted to bring up, like the biggest thing. These people spit.
Where my dad at? See what I'm saying?
I have a coffee mug. It's my favorite coffee mug. It says, "Thanks for coming home after getting milk."
Oh man,
I got it for Father's Day one year, and it's my favorite. But coming is actually 2 of the letters came off in the dishwasher, so I still don't spell it the right way.
Oh, I thought we were talking about actually like busting nuts. I was like, what happened? How did we transition here?
Anyway, you watch these people act like so much. You know, it's all acting, right? All of them. All of them.
Not all of them.
And then they go do a movie, and their first 4 to 5 movies are always buns. The movies might be good, but you can't tell me The Rock and Gridiron Gang is a good actor.
Bruh.
What you say? Don't you ever
Gridiron Gang is a great movie. I love Gridiron Gang, but The Rock
killed it in Gridiron Gang.
Compare The Rock to now to Gridiron Gang.
That's different.
How dare you?
That's different.
I still don't think he acted great in The Rundown or whatever the fucking.
You didn't like The Rundown?
No,
either?
I love the movies. I said the movies are all like the movies are good. I almost said always, but CM Punk has a movie right now called The Girl Upstairs.
Does he?
It's garbage.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've seen it.
That's what I'm saying. Because when he was absent, when we all watched it together, we were in St. Louis.
Yeah, Maui.
What movie?
Yeah.
But
Lenny too.
Yeah.
Buddy Lenny.
You remember the movie we watched when we were in
is.
St. Louis about it was the girl upstairs, and it was like the house used to be like a whorehouse. But CM Punk can't act for shit.
Oh yeah, he can't act.
But that's what I'm saying. All these wrestlers spend all of this time acting
because they're not acting.
John Cena's first couple movies, garbage, and then he gets to
he's not getting it.
Right, that's what I'm saying. They're not acting.
Just like social issues.
They're not acting. They're themselves.
Yeah, just
when they're acting in movies, they're playing a character.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Like, right. It's when you every day you go to work, right? Every day you go to work.
You can be a professional athlete, but it's still scripted.
No. Right. You don't go to work and act. You go to work and do your job.
Yeah, do your thing.
But when you act in a movie, you're acting. It's different.
Yeah.
Okay. I respect that. Also, The Girl Upstairs is a good movie, but a really shitty acting job. Also, yeah.
The walls come everywhere.
I like the walls
okay, so
jizz.
I wasn't up for a whole lot of that, but I do remember that part.
Yep.
The walls jizz constantly.
Everywhere.
Again, I like Gridiron Gang. Please don't anybody yell at me. Great movie. I just watched it again
Don't you ever
recently.
insult The Rock's performance in Gridiron
ever
Gang
in anything.
It was great. The movie was
If
great.
he has hair in the movie, he's not doing his best acting work.
I'm gonna punch you in the face.
He wasn't even acting well in the first Fast and Furious movie he
G-Baby
did.
was incredible.
And
Wow.
G-Baby,
But I feel like he's gonna be like, he was trash.
That is true.
G-Baby.
I remember when he said,
If you don't cry over G-Baby, you ain't got a heart.
He was like, oh my God, I watched Inception and Leonardo DiCaprio was terrible. I was like, what?
Who said that? Wow.
I didn't say that.
Mm-hmm.
He's just trying to. He's just.
I almost spit
I
on him.
believe him now because of your previous
Acting.
comment.
Acting.
Have you seen the first Fast and Furious movie with The Rock in it? He still did. He
You're
was not
implying
good
that
in
I've
that.
seen Fast and
I
Furious
haven't seen
movies.
it. I've seen like, I
Oh,
stopped at
y'all
like
both
3.
suck. Fast and the Furious is beautiful. I got all
Is it?
8 on Blu-ray
Are you
right
sure?
now if you
Are you
want to
sure
stop
it's
and
not
watch
terrible?
them.
I don't.
Are you sure they haven't been good since like the third one?
I can just go look.
The third one is arguably the worst
Oh,
one.
a little fun
Yeah.
fact though, way to end this episode. So you want to know how old I am? Or I guess we all are. In the first Fast and Furious movie, they were transporting
Paul Walker
2
was alive.
TVs.
Oh, and DVD players.
DVD players. Like they
They're
were
like,
hot.
you know how much they're stealing these
They were
DVD players
hot
and reselling them
commodities,
for?
bro.
They're taking DVD players out of trucks because they sell for so much money. I'm just like,
That's insane. That they were stealing 2 TVs and DVD players.
Ludacris also
Yep,
used to
no.
have an afro. Also, have you seen Ludacris's Cribs episode?
No.
It is the most insane thing ever because he's got very little furniture, but he wants you to focus on
Like
this
Pippen?
one painting that no, Pippen had no furniture. Scottie Pippen borrowed a house, and I'm pretty
All
sure he
white
probably
everything.
It was
with 2 fucking couches. That's it.
What
They
I
didn't have 2 couches. I
he
was
didn't
on
have
a chair.
couches.
They were
Scottie
like,
Pippen, no.
they
Go
are
back.
supposed to be couches.
Oh.
Where?
Yeah.
He was in a fold-out chair, and there was no furniture in that whole house. They just got done filming like Backdoor Sluts 11 in there, cleared it out, and then
Wow.
let Scottie Pippen borrow it for his interviews.
I can't believe Backdoor Sluts has gone 11 times at this point.
No, they're on 42.
Oh
The
shit!
filming of number 11. They
I
remember they
missed-
turned these boys out weekly.
I missed
fucking Mia Khalifa was
from
on,
4 all the way.
Mia Khalifa was only in the game for a year, and she had like 40 movies. So they turned these boys out.
You right.
I don't know who that is though, by the way.
Yeah. What? Well, before we wrap this shit up, I want to say this is that I really wish that looking back at this stuff, I really wish that they give wrestlers the creative freedom. Because a lot of the stuff that you saw before, all that stuff was kind of like just on the spot. They were just rolling, feeding off each other back and forth. And you can really tell that everything a lot right now is really forced and they don't even talk like real people.
Shoots, well, if for wrestling terms, shoots are when they go off the cuff. It's more reactionary. It's the lack of shoot options, I think, is what it is. Like, one of the greatest things in any show, the reason why live shows are so good is not because you want to see what's going to happen. You want to see what could happen. So allowing a wrestler to shoot and then the other person has to be like, I gotta work it in, and then some of the best stories I've heard in wrestling.
So do they not do live anymore though?
Well, they do live.
But right now they don't.
Script, and it's all scripted. Script. Like a lot of so what made Degeneration X so good is that they were like,
they just did whatever the fuck they wanted.
Exactly.
It was so good.
Then afterward, they were like, yes,
was that cool?
Yeah. And then he was like, too much. And he was like, cool, we already did it.
Don't wear Christmas thongs again. And they're like,
right. And they're like, well, I'm gonna, but but yeah. So that's the thing, when you water a product down to reach the mainstream. Again, this is the hipster in me. You guys know me. One of the big problems I have with anything is where you sacrifice artistic integrity for the dollar, which is funny because I do love me some dollars, but you've got to be willing to sacrifice a little bit on the ledger to remain who you are. And so like you said, like the fact that that's one of the so NXT, I know you said like when I was like, wasn't it their cruiserweight division? Like, no, it's been development. I was like, but I'm pretty sure they put all their cruiserweights there for a minute because they're trying to do something
more like
with
now.
that.
All the guys now are smaller, so in theory you're right.
Right, but it's just what real. Yeah. So, but one of the things that NXT, I noticed how at first NXT it was like, all right, this is going to be a developmental league, and then we're going to move people up. And then for a while, they're like, no, it's its own thing. So we're just going to stop developing these people and let them be. And that was terrible because they're like, no, this is what it was for. It's so you can take regional talent that you liked, try all the gimmicks and things that you enjoy, and then once one hits, you move them up. But they would move people up and then change them when they entered the WWE. So why did you move him up in the first place? Like what made him good was what he was there. Right.
Like Ty Dillinger, bro. That's the biggest heartbreak of all time. Like Ty Dillinger for a while there was going to become my favorite wrestler. I know it's cheesy because all he did was, count to 10, whatever. But like, I don't know what is about Ty Dillinger. I fuck with it real heavy. I'm like, let's go Ty Dillinger. And he never got a push. And then they stopped doing the whole 10 thing. And like, it's just like, that's what got him there. Like let him be himself, even though I wish he had a better finisher.
A lot of the finishers now are dog shit in this new era of like finishers, which honestly I say that, but the people's elbow has to be one of the stupidest. The spectacle is great. The actual this dude just runs around the ring 2 times and then drops an elbow. It can't honestly hurt
finisher
anybody.
Is that
The Rock?
The Rock.
Well, the people's elbow. The people's champion.
Yeah, the rock bottom too.
Yeah,
the rock bottom was more believable. Yeah. But the spectacle.
I just figured it'd be cooking related.
Yeah, but the spectacle wasn't right. The spectacle. What? Jamie?
He dropped the whole elbow on you. Not a little bit, a whole elbow.
So,
what's okay, no.
Okay, so remember this. The F5 has to be one
devastating.
Of the worst looking, it has to be one of the dumbest in all practical application, but one of the best looking finishers. Like the people's elbow was neither of those.
Yeah. Like actually Barry Corbin's deep 6, beautiful. Mm-hmm. It is a beautiful move.
Before you elbow someone, over.
No, Kenny Omega has one of the best.
Fucking one wing angel.
Oh my God. Like he has one of the best finishers.
Rey Mysterio?
Are you talking about the one wing angel? You're talking about the V trigger?
I'm talking the V trigger.
Yeah, V trigger.
I love the V trigger because the V trigger seems more dangerous.
Yeah, it's not better. Like back in the day, Hurricane Helms, he had the fucking shining wizard. Yeah, that shit was badass. Right. Because you have to have your fucking knee up and he jump on your knee and knee you in the fucking
He's not
face.
Even holding anybody.
That shit was badass. But the V trigger is really dope too.
There's a guy in the ring by himself.
Are you talking about the F5?
I knew he was.
No, he showed me a picture of Brock Lesnar spinning around in a circle doing nothing to no one.
What? Oh, that's not an F5 at all.
There's nobody. He's not. It's by himself.
What? Show the video. Just show him.
Brock Lesnar's in the video by himself.
Jamie's really. Oh, there's the F5.
There you go. The F5
here
right
it goes.
There.
Yeah, hold on. Here it comes.
But he's by himself.
No, hold on. There it is. There it is.
Right.
Why is he in the ring by himself?
What are you talking about? I'm so dead.
I was really just waiting for it. I was trying to set it up.
That is definitely the wrap, guys. We have been When Awesome Collides. It's not going to get any better than that. He definitely got my ass.
I feel so good.
You can't see me taken to the whole level that it needs to be taken at. Oh, God. Brock Lesnar at fighting John Cena.
This has been Maui. This has been X. I'm your boy D-Mark. And thank you for Jamie, Tim, for joining us. The bartender doing his thing. Tune in next time. We'll dissect for an hour this top tier joke that just happened. Again, thank you for go back and watch all our old episodes. We appreciate anything that you got, any suggestions, anything like that. You can email us. He doesn't, but you can email us at when WHEN awesome AW3SOME collides at gmail.com. I know it's dumb for me to give you guys that out, but still, we want to comment on the YouTube page. Send us emails. We want your actual
comment
feedback
on
iTunes,
Spotify, whatever.
On OnlyFans. If you want to see, if you want Xavier's butthole pics, he will be accepting $20 tips for butthole pics.
If people send me $20, I will send you an individualized asshole pic. I need everyone to know.
Asshole's different. Each one is different.
It's like a snowflake. I'll do different angles and lighting and shit, filters. Yeah.
I've got a 20 right now. I'm not lying.
Yeah, so it'll be on there. But so thank you for tuning in. Please go watch all our stuff, support our content. With everything going on right now, for us minority creators, it definitely helps out for people to tune in.
Black Lives
Matter. So we definitely appreciate any help you guys could give us. Again, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, you have a great day.
Hey, bye.
Cue the outro.